I'm going to stand up for a second to try to get everybody's attention. We have a very exciting evening. Obviously, we have a lot of great students that we want to come before us tonight, and so I know everybody's excited and anxious to be here. Thank you for coming to the April 12th meeting. It's hard to believe this school year, for all that has gone on in this school year, that it is almost over, and we're anxious to celebrate some of the exciting things that have happened this year. And with that, I would like to ask Abigail Livingston to please come to the mic to say the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We are excited that you're here tonight, Abby.
Thank you.
If you will just take a few minutes and tell the board a little bit about yourself and about your future plans.
Of course. I want to start off by thanking Dr. Greep, Dr. Cleveland, and the school board for giving me this opportunity. My name is Abigail Livingston. I'm 17 years old and currently a senior at HAR-BER High School. I'm involved in the Meds House, planning to graduate with medical honors, as well as National Honor Society, and planning on graduating with highest honors. I'm also involved in senior class council, student council, DECA, HOSA, HAR-BER cross country, and the HAR-BER swim team. I'm on course to graduate on May 21st of 2022. In my spare time, I train and coach with Arkansas track team, participating in local, state, and national events. Part of me didn't know where to start. 3 years at HAR-BER High School and about 1 million different lessons I've learned. Reflecting back on how far we've come from a worldwide pandemic, losing loved ones, and days that make us just want to crawl up into a ball and cry. But we never stopped fighting. We never stopped striving to achieve our highest potential, and we never gave up, even when others told us to. We never limited ourselves. The teachers at HAR-BER High School have instilled in me a fighting spirit, one that I will know will last me a lifetime, especially my 2 student council sponsors, Ms. Davey and Mr. Hall. In the face of adversity, they continue to fight for students and what they believe in. They are a shining light and a great example of what it means to take the higher road and make the best out of every situation. My years at HAR-BER High School have also cleared up for me what I want to do in my future. I want to pursue a degree in social work and work with nonprofit organizations like the Children's Safety Center. This brings healing not only to the kids who walk through these doors, but also strengthens the community as a whole.
Yay. Can you, I don't think you said, but which schools you?
I'm attending the University of Arkansas.
Great. But which elementary?
Oh, I went to Bernice Young Elementary, Hellstern Middle School, Central Junior High, and now I'm a current senior at HAR-BER.
So you're elected in Springdale.
Yes.
Board, do you have any questions for Abby or Abigail? I've known Abby a long time, so
Just as a plug, we hire social workers too.
So what would you say to someone either getting ready to start high school or even getting ready to start junior high? What would be your biggest piece of advice?
I think my biggest piece of advice is to look at the legacy you're leaving behind and knowing that that is one of the most impactful things you can do, because that's what's going to shape the generations to come and just make that a happy and joyful one.
Yay. Well, we're excited, and we hope to have you back after you finish at the U of A. I know you're going to have a great experience there. Could you introduce your mom to us, please?
Of course. This is my mom, J.B. Livingston, and then my dad, Sean.
So, board, if you don't have any other questions, Abigail, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Board, you've had the opportunity to have the agenda for tonight. If you have any questions about the agenda.
Make a motion to approve the agenda as submitted.
Second. I have a motion by Mr. Hutchinson, a second by Mrs. Creek to approve the agenda as submitted. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Board, you've also had the consent agenda that has both out-of-district transfers and the school board minutes from March. Anything that you would like pulled or any questions?
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda as submitted. Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Hutchinson, a second by Mr. Bell to approve the consent agenda as submitted. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Dr. Cleveland.
Yes, ma'am. It's my pleasure this evening to start off the presentation by Superintendent to ask Ms. Brittany Berry and Mr. Josh Worthy to come to the front. These two fine people have been leaders in the East Conference and the East program in Springdale for quite some time. So thank you for being here.
You just want to start?
Yeah. So we're here to talk to you a little bit about East Conference. The week before spring break, we took 7 buses filled with over 200 students and 27 facilitators, a bunch of administrators, and some volunteer bus drivers, because we had to scrounge around to find those guys and gals. And we got to go down to Hot Springs for the first time in over 1,000 days to meet face-to-face with actual East kids. And we were able to showcase and present and celebrate a ton of projects, over 150 projects that we've been able to do in our community the last 12 months.
Yeah. And so we have tonight just some numbers to share with you. It's kind of hard to whittle it down into too much. It's so many kids,
Yeah.
so many wonderful projects. So we thought we'd kind of stick with the overall numbers because it's quite impressive. So out of the 4 major East awards, so the Founders and the Cornerstones, 2 of those 3 awards went to 2 Springdale programs. So Lakeside Junior High was recognized as the Project Sophistication and Innovation winner for 2022, and J.O. Kelly for Student Growth and Engagement. So, and then we'll go to the next slide. There we go.
Go ahead. Yeah, we have a lot of sub-competitions in different categories. So a mapping competition here, maybe a 3D printing project here. Out of the 16 different competitions, Springdale schools, they took 5 out of the 16 competitions. We had multiple finalists in just about every category. In 8 different categories, we were finalists in, again, 16 different competitions. So that's a big piece of the pie. Our city and our East programs were well represented there. And as far as on-site performance, out of over 200 schools that go to East Conference, it's closer to 250. They give 25 Judges' Choice Awards, and Springdale took away 7 of those 25, which we'll pull up here in a little bit. That's a huge accomplishment because that really falls on the shoulders of the 8 kids that represent that team or that school. They're showcasing the hundreds of kids back home in their home school, and they're able to do that accurately with a smile on their face and with some empowering technology as well.
We had a handful of students that represented Springdale on the leadership team, ranging all the way from our elementary to our high schools. So there were 6 students on the East Ambassador team helping run conference, including a student from Tyson Elementary who was one of the main speakers for the whole entire event, and 2 students on the technical support team. East also gives every single person who's kind of a
An impact player
An
that
impact-
they notice, on the spot.
So they pass out a certain number of difference maker coins at conference, and 14% of those also went to Springdale students. And so you can kind of see here the breakdown of the competition winners. So you can see on the left side the 5 individual awards out of the 16 that were awarded to Springdale schools, and then the Judges' Choice Awards on the right. The overall impact, you can see, I'm almost emotional looking at the pictures on the right side of the screen, because it has been so long since the kids have had these opportunities to go out and represent. And for a lot of our students, it was you just saw the light bulb go off. And they're already talking about next year. They were making plans on the bus. So it's really exciting for them to start getting to think forward, right? It was kind of like this moment to say, we are crossing a line and we are into the next phase, and the potential that brings. And I think if it's on the next slide, we brought one. So East recognizes one project out of all of them that are submitted as the outstanding project of the year. And that project went to a group of students at Westwood Elementary who are helping another student. And I think there's going to be some stuff sent out by the district about this project coming soon, but it is so wonderful and motivational and touching. And so when you think about What is East? I think this epitomizes who our kids are and what they're doing in the community.
Hi, my name is Lily Rugg, and this is Joshua Solis, and our next project is Ludi Learns Her Friends.
We're solving a problem for our client, Ludi, a kindergartner at Westwood Elementary. Ludi is a blind and nonverbal. She has 12 teachers that are helping her for each week. When Ludi meets someone, she's always reaching for their lanyards. This was a good clue of how Ludi can identify the person that is working with her. My teammates and I designed and 3D printed a tile with a shape on it that Ludi could feel that represents the person in front of her.
After meeting with Ludi's vision teacher, she expanded this project. We are now using those same shaped tiles and adding the beginning letter of each teacher's name in Braille to the learning board. This will be the first step to Ludi learning Braille.
So this was the project that they chose over every high school program, every junior high program. We got a 5th grade student making a big impact. And just kind of at a quick glance, I know Brittany and I, we've been in front of the board many times in the last 10 years, but just looking at the Judges' Choice Awards and the competition awards, 6 out of the 7, those are schools that were there for the first time.
Yeah.
And you know, I know a big concern is like, man, Springdale East is growing. It's growing very quickly. Are we sustaining? Are there enough projects in Springdale? I think those new schools show you that there are enough clients. There are enough community partnerships that the new faces in town are able to maintain that tradition of excellence that we've tried to instill in the last 15 years with the East in Springdale.
So we're excited to share with you tonight those results, and we just look forward to what's next. All right.
Incredible.
Yeah, thank you.
Good job.
Hi,
Ms. Cook, I'd like to introduce Coach Betsy Barker, Assistant Athletic Director. We have some celebrations from the athletic world for this evening. Some pretty amazing things.
Yes, I want to thank the board, Dr. Cleveland, and the rest of the admin team for inviting our teams here tonight and recognize some of our outstanding programs that we have in athletics. And we're going to start with HAR-BER girls basketball, and we'll go on from there.
Got some cheerleaders over there. Hi, I'm Kimberly Jenkins. I'm the girls basketball coach at HAR-BER. It's a pleasure for us to be here and to represent with almost all of our team. We had a few that were working tonight, so they weren't able to attend. This group is really special. We finished the year 22-5 overall with a 13-0 conference record. Won conference, our conference championship. That's the best record in HAR-BER girls basketball history, as well as the first ever conference championship in the history of girls basketball at HAR-BER. So we're pretty proud of that. We did advance to the semifinals of the state tournament. We lost to the eventual state champion, North Little Rock. Played hard, a little maybe outmatched, but we gave everything we had. This group is a really special group. We went through the COVID years together. I think that bonded us. We spent a lot of extra time together when we had days where they weren't in school or they were doing the, different kinds of learning. So that really bonded our group a lot together, and that I think this is the result of it. We had some really nice, awesome individual accolades that I'd like to recognize because they're really different and really special. We have senior Kaylin Coons. You want to step forward, Kaylin? Just wave. She is the first ever 4-time all-conference, all-state player at HAR-BER. She also is Northwest Arkansas Democrat Player of the Year for Division I, and she was our Conference Player of the Year, which is rare to have that as well. We also have junior Patience McDaniel. There she is. And she is a 3-time all-conference, all-state, all-defensive team for our conference, and finished as a Northwest Arkansas Democrat Division I first-team player as well. And then we have Delaney Roller, who's unable to be here tonight, and she was a sophomore that earned all-conference. This group is just so special. I've been doing this for 25 years, and this is just a different kind of group. They are just great young ladies. They bought into our one-team concept, and they just every day they live our pillars, which is great attitude, great effort, great body language, great teammates, and great communication. And this group is just an awesome example of that. We had a first semester team GPA of 3.68, so they're doing it not only on the court, but in the classroom as well. We're challenging in that area. We graduate 7 seniors that are amazing. We're going to miss them a bunch, but we're moving up really great kids from Central and Southwest as well. I want to thank and mention our assistants, Coach Josh Josh Tarver, my assistant, Coach Bakari Norman, who is our volunteer assistant this year, as well as our 9th grade coach at Central, who's here tonight. We have a 7th grade coach as well. All of our coaches work together to make our one team program really special, and I appreciate them. Also want to thank our administrators, our athletic directors for this honor to be at HAR-BER and to continue to build something really special in our girls basketball program. So thank you very much.
Do we have any basketball parents here tonight? Okay, congratulations to you two. I know parents do a lot of work as well.
Central Junior High? Yes. Come on up, Coach, it'll be fine.
Hey, I am Brandy Davis. I'm the head girls coach at Central Junior High. I was told to bring this. Thanks for having us. It's really nice to be recognized for the hard work that we've done. We had a great year. We were 25-2 overall. Runner-up in conference. We won a regional championship. Beat a really, really tough Lakeside team to win that championship. So it was the first one since 2009 for Central Junior High. So very excited to have that success. You know, and it's a direct result of the culture we've built of just really, really hard work, led by Coach Jenkins and her one-team philosophy. And she mentioned the other coaches. You get in trouble for that at Central. She has done such a great job of building in this philosophy of one team. And if you, not in that picture, there's another picture where all the other coaches that were on the bench with me that night are in, which is all those guys over there, plus Coach Baker and Coach Bullard from Southwest, Coach Waters at Hellstern. They were all on the bench with me that night because that's just what we're about. And that's why we have that. That's why we have that. So it's just a really cool thing to be a part of. Your communications team did this really great video for us. I don't know if you got to see that. So thank you for that. I also wanted to thank our administration. Dr. Lofton back here, he's probably the biggest cheerleader we have. He set up a pep rally for us where we got to cut down the nets. And so it's just a really great thing to be part of, great community, great family, and I'm very thankful to be part of it. Thanks, y'all.
Betsy, you want to come back up, please? You went and sat down. You're not supposed to. We need to introduce a young man from Springdale High School who's been outstanding at bowling.
Yes, we have Elijah Cousins, and Coach McGinnis will talk about him, but he's had an outstanding year at bowling for Springdale High School.
This is Elijah. He was the Northwest Arkansas Gazette Player of the Year. He also was the conference champion. He finished 4th in the state. He had a 720 series to set a school record. And he's a sophomore. Oh, wow. He's all conference, all state. And he has bowled one more perfect game than I have. Y'all have any questions for him?
I've been bowling since I was 4.
Oh, well, that.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
So have you bowled against your coach?
Not yet. I will in the future, though.
You play any league bowling or anything? I got a spot open on the team.
How much?
NIL deal this year.
I want to see the match between the two of you.
That's right. Okay.
Set it up.
That's awesome.
That's it. Congratulations.
Okay, up next we'll have Coach Harvey from Springdale, and he's going to recognize Kevin Brumfield and Maisie Sanchez from swim.
Well, thank y'all for letting us do this today. I want to say some thank yous real quick before I get into what they did, because I've got about 7 bosses, because we don't have a junior high team. So I'm going to go down the list, and I actually work in a different building. I want to thank Dr. Davis at Archer for being so flexible with our schedule due to facilities in the Northwest Arkansas area. There's sometimes that swim and dive take place in 2 different spots and 2 different days. So he's always been flexible to make that happen and never had any issues with anything. Obviously, Mr. Jones, Springdale High School with his open door policy, he's always been, anytime I come in there, I've got his ear. You know, it may only be for 60 seconds because whatever's going on out there, but always had it. Miss Boards at SOI, I've got a few kids from there. She's always been super supportive. She lets me come and talk to the kids every year, see if we can get some people interested in swim. I don't really know Dr. Flanagan that well. This is his first year here, but the first conversation I had with him, he said, I want all my kids involved. So I feel like I can get behind something like that, and I've really appreciated him saying that. And Dr. Shepard, I've known for years, and once again, he's very much like Mr. Jones with his open door policy. We come in there, and all these buildings are flexible with tryouts. So I just want to say thank you to all the admin and Coach Stellick, who's not here. So I want to thank all the athletic department as well. So thank you for all that before I get into what they're doing. So as you can see on the screen, Kevin, I'm going to get into the team and then I'll get into them. As a team, we set 8 school records this year in state, including relays. They had 18 total medals, which is also a school record. Maisie, which is this young lady here, and when I'm done, please ask questions because they don't want to talk. So I want you to ask as many questions as possible. We got all night. We can handle this. She won state as a freshman in diving. Kevin won a state, as you can see, in the 200 IM and the 100 butterfly, which because of COVID, we haven't been able to be here as much as we'd like to. This is actually Kevin's 3rd state championship since he's been swimming with us at Springdale. The only thing he did this year to top himself was he's actually got the all-time fastest time in the state of Arkansas in the 200 IM. So I think swim's been here for about 70 years and he's got it. And on top of these, both of these kids were named swimmer and diver of the year, like the young man who was just bowling. So in the past, we've had a few win. Like a couple years ago, we had a girl win, but COVID hit, ruined everything. Last year, Kevin won. COVID was going crazy. Once again, ruined everything. So this is actually Kevin's 2nd swimmer of the year. Maisie's 1st, but it's actually the school's first ever 2 at one time. There's only 4 awards given, and Springdale High School got 2 of them. So now, yeah, I appreciate that, but I want you to fire away at them because I know they don't want to talk.
What got you into diving and swimming? Who wants to go first?
You're welcome. All right. For me, it kind of started 9 years back, because of this guy, actually. I was in this little summer league team called the Springdale Sea Lions, and we would practice at the Springdale Aquatic Center here over the summer, and he was the coach at the time. And then kind of from there, he was like, hey, like if you really like swimming and if you really want to pursue it, you should join like a club team. And then that's what I ended up doing, which is the RAC Aquahawks at the Jones Center. So I'm still doing that, and then I'm still swimming for Springdale. So, and it was just kind of him that got me into it. So.
Do you want to swim in college?
Yes, I do. Yeah.
He's talked to a bunch. Don't let him off that easy. Who have you talked to?
So kind of like my, I guess, top ones right now are Penn State, Kentucky, and Purdue.
Really good. I know the coach at Penn State.
It has.
It's a good school. No, yeah, ask her something. She don't.
Diving. What got you into diving?
So my dad's the college coach for he's been all over the place, but he's right here at the U of A for now. And so I've been diving since I was really, really little, like 3, but that doesn't really count. So I've been diving for a long time, and I guess, I don't know, they put me in a bunch of different sports, but I guess diving really stuck. And my sister was not able to compete, but she probably would have won everything. But me and her have been doing it for a very long time.
Well, congratulations. Board, do you have any other questions?
I would like to make one thing before, I'm not trying to steal Harbor's thunder, but as a community, we've got Kevin Brumfield and Connor both right, which you're going to figure out who he is in just a minute. I talked to Nathan about this earlier. I truly believe that we have the 2 best swimmers in the state of Arkansas in our community, which Springdale's known for a lot, but swimming's probably not one of them, but for us to...
That's a huge...
It's huge. I mean, Connor is unbelievable, and have those 2 men in the same community is unbelievable. And I want to thank you.
That's
Are you a
fun.
senior?
I'm a junior.
We got you one more year.
She's a freshman, so, yeah.
Awesome.
That's exciting.
Good.
Yay.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Now we have Nathan Witten. He's going to recognize Connor Boatwright and Sailor Wilson.
Good evening, y'all. My name is Nathan Witten. This is my 6th year coaching HAR-BER swim and dive team. And I just want to say something. When I inherited this program, there was about 12 kids. 8 of those kids were freshmen, and those freshmen are now seniors. And graduating 9 this year. Abigail Livingston's one of them, Sailor Wilson's another. And the program has grown, has been built all the way up to 44 kids for HAR-BER alone. I know Springdale has probably about the same amount of numbers. And so swimming and diving in this Springdale community as a whole has grown tremendously. And I'm really proud to see that happen because, not to take away from them, but the beautiful thing about swimming and diving is it gives kids an opportunity to find their niche, to find something that they want to be a part of, because not everyone's a basketball player, not everyone's a baseball player or a football player, but swimming and diving helps kids find that identity in the water. And so I'm really thankful for the opportunity through Dr. Greep, Dr. Lofton, and Dr. Byford, and me coaching these athletes and recruiting and getting people involved in swimming, because swimming is going to help them with water skills when they're hanging out with their friends at the lake or anything like that. They could potentially be there for someone else, but also it's helping them get jobs. You have a lot of kids who are 15, 16-year-olds who are lifeguarding at the Jones Center during the school year, who are lifeguarding at the Springdale Aquatic Center. So it's giving these kids a lot of opportunities that I don't think not everyone would be able to get, especially in the state of Arkansas. So I appreciate you all. And then I want to talk on Connor Boatwright and Sailor Wilson. So Connor Boatwright, he's only a sophomore, and he's been tremendous asset to the HAR-BER swim and dive team for the past 2 years. He's been our most valuable Wildcat, which is the person who scored the most points for HAR-BER swim and dive. But as you can see, he is up on the podium. He's been on the podium at conference and at state. He's won the 500 free at conference, won the 500 free at state, and he's only about 6 seconds off of the state record, which is pretty high, but I believe he can get there, and he's really determined to do that because he's so determined that he's doing high school swimming in the morning and coming back in the afternoon as well, training. And doing those things, he's actually traveling outside of the high school swimming regiment, meaning he's going to elite pro-am meets where he's competing against other amateur athletes, other professional athletes, and he's, just kind of inching his way to getting his, I would say his Olympic trial cuts. And so don't be surprised if you see him up there in Indianapolis in the upcoming years. And so he's just a sophomore. And then Sailor Wilson, she's a senior. She finished at the podium for the girls. She's also been our most valuable Wildcat, and she's really helped the team. And both of these athletes really show that you can come from the city of Springdale and really put yourself out on the mark, put yourself out on the map, so to speak. And then she's done really well in the 100 breast and the 200 IM, both medaling at conference and at state. And so I'm really proud of both of their achievements for themselves individually, but also to their peers and to the other student athletes in our community, because they're showing that it can be done. You can travel cross town to the Jones Center and still make your dreams possible. And so I'll hand it over to them.
Same questions I asked the other ones. What made you both decide swimming?
Okay, so I started swimming when I was 9, and I tried volleyball, basketball, all that stuff, and I'm just not good with balls. So my mom was like, why don't you swim? And I was like, okay. So yeah, that's pretty much how it happened.
So what's your favorite stroke?
Breaststroke. Yeah.
Where is Lindenwood University?
It's in St. Charles, Missouri, outside of St. Louis.
Connor?
Well, I started swimming whenever I was 7, and I basically just ran out of sports to try, and swim just really stuck whenever I tried it, so yeah.
We're very proud and excited for both of you.
That's awesome.
Board, any other questions? Thank you. Congratulations. He's He's like, okay, all social workers, please. I
All social workers, come to the front, please.
feel like we're on the.
You're welcome. Thank you. I'll wait till everybody kind of gets out. Settled. Okay, tonight it gives me great pleasure to introduce Miss Jennifer Keeling as the 21-22 Social Worker of the Year in Springdale, Arkansas.
Thank
Ms. Keeling currently serves students at HAR-BER High School, and as you'll notice on the screen up there, she has 20 years experience. She is an LCSW. She is a Springdale native, graduated from Springdale High School, which is amazing.
Yes.
And also was awarded the All-In Adult Winner from TASK this year as well. So I'm going to read this to you. One of the people who nominated her wrote this, and I think they said it best. They said, Jennifer is always for our students and parents and anyone else that needs help. She is compassionate and caring. She is a compassionate and caring person who is more than willing to do whatever it takes to help those in need. She works tirelessly every day for her students and is one of the sweetest, kindest, most patient people that I know.
Oh, that makes me tear up.
We are fortunate to have Ms. Keeling on our social worker team. Thank you, Ms. Keeling, for all that you do for Springdale students and families, and congratulations on being named the Springdale School District Social Worker of the Year.
Thank you, Mr.
Get her.
Thank you. I just have to say a quick thank you to the board for deciding to employ social workers in the district. I feel like there's a tremendous need, and I'm so thankful for the people I get to work with on a daily basis. I have the best team. This isn't all the team, but these wonderful ladies came out to support me tonight, and I get to work with the admin at HAR-BER, the counselors, the teachers. I couldn't ask to work for better people. And I get to do something I love on a daily basis, and that's just incredible to me. And every school that I've had the opportunity to work at, because I have, before they moved me into the full-time position at HAR-BER, I enjoyed every school I was at. And I just feel like just everybody in this district is all for the students, and that's so important to me. So, this is just a true honor, and I want to thank you all again. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Any questions?
Congratulations. And I think I said it last year or the year before. I honestly don't know what we did before we had all of you. I don't know how we got everything done, how our schools and ours, without the social workers. So we're very thankful for you and just for each and every one of you and all that you do for our students and our families. So thank you.
It's an honor for us to be able to do it, for sure.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank
Good luck.
you
Thank you,
all.
guys.
Okay.
Next, I'd like to invite all the Springdale band directors down to the front to recognize the Springdale Band Program for marching assessment, concert assessment, all region, and all state accomplishments. On the video or on the screen there, you can see that currently there's about 2,134 students enrolled in 6th through 12th grade band. And the next slide. And this first slide, I just wanted to go through these just briefly, but just let you know that both HAR-BER High School and Springdale High School made straight ones at marching contests. And I'll just give you a little background. A first division is a superior division, and it's the highest rating you can get out of 5. So you can see across there that they received a first division from every judge at marching contest, which then correlated to a composite rating of a first division overall. Okay, next slide, please. This is the Region 7, and we are in Region 7 out of 9 regions in the state. And our region is Region 7, and you can see I just listed our bands that are in Springdale, and all of those bands you can see did very, very well at concert assessment. And next slide. And then also, this is just in, Mr. Key just went to state contest yesterday, and it was yesterday, right? Yes, yesterday. And he placed second amongst all of those bands that you see on that list down below. Okay, so second in the state as a new program in the state. Now, I don't have results in for HAR-BER. Is anybody aware of those yet?
I know Springdale High School received all ones.
Okay, so Springdale High School got all ones, and I just hadn't put that up there because they're there now and probably headed back this way. And as soon as I get those, I'll shoot you an email and let you know how they did as well. But we are super proud of our bands for going to state contest this year and placing amongst the highest of anybody in the state. Next slide, please. Junior high or region. I always say this about junior high or region results, and all of these folks up here work very hard after school, before school. I mean, they spend lots of hours in investing in kids, and I always say this about junior high or region results. If we can get a student to make junior high or region band, we've just given them an opportunity to use somebody else's money to go to college, okay? So what I'd like to say is 75 kids made junior high or region band at Central Junior High. Southwest had 48, DTSI had 42, George Junior High had 26, and Lakeside had 24. And I want to put that in perspective. The junior high or region band in our region is 256 students. We had 177 of those slots, which was 70% of that band, which was amazing. Yes. High school all region numbers are very similar. HAR-BER High School had 73 all region students. SHS had 74. DTSY had 42. And that band has 256 members. And out of that, we had 189 of those members, which is 74% of that band. Okay? And these are your tickets to the bank right here. If you get these tickets right here, these 25 slots at HAR-BER High School, they'll be able to go about anywhere they want to go in the state of Arkansas to college, full ride, anywhere they want to go. 25 all-state positions at HAR-BER High School, 17 at SHS, and 12 at DTSY, which is, that band's a little larger at 356, but we had 54 of those, of the state slots of the 356, which is 15%, and they had the second most by only 2 kids, so they missed it by having the first most, by 2 kids, had the second most all-state students in the state of Arkansas. So, okay, you can go back one. I want to say about this, not everyone was able to be here tonight, but these folks here are the finest people that I get to work with as far as band directors go in the state of Arkansas. We really pride ourselves about getting the very best of the best hired here so that they can work with our students and really impact our students. And I want to say this, I hope I tell you this enough, but just thank you for everything that you all do for kids. And it's just an honor to work alongside of them every day. So thank you. Do you all have any questions for them? I'm going to step back.
Thankful for the time and energy they've put into, I mean, those kids, it's great that they did it, but
correct.
It all started in their classrooms.
Absolutely.
And so it's just amazing. Thank you for the time, and I know it's extra time after school, in the morning, probably lunchtime, probably any time when they come into practice. Thank you. Thank you.
I would suspect it would take many years to find any band program in Arkansas that did not get the scores the Springdale band gets historically every year.
I agree with that.
Probably 40 years.
Correct. We talk about that a lot,
That's sustainability right there.
They've heard me say this a lot of time, but our enormous attention to detail. Enormous attention to detail.
Thank you very much. And I know your students and their families, thank you too.
Fantastic. If I could now get the choir directors to come down front so that we can recognize the Springdale Core Program for Core Performance Assessment, SWATCA, all region and all state recognitions. And just to put this one in perspective as well as they're coming down front, there are about 2,100 students enrolled in choir, grades 6 through 12. And here are very similar results that you can see with all region. choral performance assessment. And so you can see there that, again, I'll remind you that 1 is the very highest rating. It's a superior rating that you can receive. And 5 is the very lowest rating you can receive. And you can just see down through that list many, 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 many 1s. And on to the next group. And these are just a continuation of those results. We are so very, very proud. I hope that you have an opportunity to come hear concert performance assessment sometime, because it is truly, it moves me. I mean, it really does kind of feed me for the entire year. So it's a neat experience. You can go on to the next one. This is one that I really want to spend just a minute on. There's a lot of history made right here, and I want to make sure that I give it the proper acknowledgement. HAR-BER High School had 2 groups that went to state contests this year, and they were state champions. Just flat out, they were the highest of the high. They scored the highest. They were the best in class 7A overall large ensemble. So they were the state champion of the large ensemble. And out of all the choirs that participated in state contests, they were the state champions, and they were the best in class 7A overall large chorus. So I think that deserves a big round of applause for them. I don't know if that's ever happened before in the history of Springdale, correct?
Of HAR-BER High, not for sure. We'd have to ask Randy.
Okay.
If
I'm not sure that's ever happened before, but I'm just really proud of these 2.
In the 2000 C1 state contest ever, but
right.
For HAR-BER in 17 years,
that's pretty good.
The first overall we've had.
Okay, SWATCA results. This is also where you hear me talk about, money, using somebody else's money to go to college. This is where one of those pieces where it really starts. We're at HAR-BER High School. We had 22 SWATCA members. We had 24 at CGHS, 4 at Southwest, 3 at Helen Tyson Middle School, 2 at SHS, 10 at George Junior High School, and 11 at Lakeside Junior High School, and that was 75 of the 550 available spots, which was 14% of that choir, which is really awesome as well.
And to help Damon, that is out of 7 states.
Correct.
So that's not just a regional, that is a 7-state regional honor choir.
Which is awesome.
Texas, Kansas, New Mexico, Colorado.
It isn't the one where it's usually in Oklahoma City.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And then this one is the Junior High Region Choir results, where Central had 53 qualifiers, Southwest had 40, DTSY had 32, George Junior High had 35, and Lakeside had 45, which was 205. This is pretty amazing. 205 of the 348 available junior high spots were taken by Springdale students, and that was 58% of that junior high region choir. Yes. And then Senior High Region choir results. Again, this is money in the bank. Senior High Region leads to what? Leads to opportunities for All-State. So then you have HAR-BER High School with 113 all-region members. That's probably another record as well. SHS with 25, DTSY with 30, and that was 168 of the overall spots, of the 360 overall spots, which was 47% of that overall Senior High Region choir, which was great as well. And then last but not least, we had a history breaking, I don't know if it's ever happened in the state before, any school district in the state that had 50 students make All-State from one school, okay? So I'm gonna put this in perspective here for you. We had 50 from HAR-BER High School, 11 from SHS, and 8 from DTSY. That number was 69 All-State choral students. I'm going to tell you the next closest school, and I think I got this right, was 44. The next closest school was 44. 69 was amazing, and I don't believe that's ever happened anywhere in the history.
And that's 2 of Bentonville schools combined.
Correct.
Both of their high schools.
Right. So I would just say that we had 69 of that, which was 6%. I wasn't going to say Bentonville, but you just let the cat out of the bag, so here we go. Anyway, that was 6% of the All-State choir, which was awesome, 6%. And I will tell you this, the Springdale Core program had the most students selected to All-State, and HAR-BER High School had the most students selected ever to All-State in the history that it's been in existence, and I think that it deserves a big applause for that. I'm going to say something similar about these choir directors that I get the privilege to serve each and every day. And I'll just say I have really grown with them. We have moved the program forward. I want to thank the leadership. I want to thank the junior high directors. I want to thank the middle school directors. You all do some fantastic work. I know it's just after school, before school, really late nights. It's theater, it's plays, it's everything that you can think of. Staying after school. It's not an 8:45 to 4:15 job. It is a massive amount beyond that. Saturdays, Sundays. I mean, it's a lot, and I will just tell you, I am so grateful that we have this team. We are always looking for the very best of the best to hire, to add to this team. Anytime we have someone who decides to take another opportunity, we always come together and try to find that very, very best person that's going to mesh with us. And we have been very successful doing that, and I'm really proud to work with them every day. So, thank you. Y'all have any questions?
Y'all are amazing. Totally amazing. Thank you for like I said, for the band as well. Thank you for the hours. I mean, I've talked to enough parents to know how many hours you were there in the morning, at lunch, in the afternoon, on weekends to prepare these students for this. I just want you to know it doesn't go unnoticed. I know the hours and the intense time away from your families, away from your hobbies, away from anything. We are grateful. We are thankful. Your families of your students are thankful, and your students are just thriving. So thank you.
I do want to say this before they leave because they need to hear this. I don't think I've said this, but I went to concert performance assessment, and then the next day I took a friend and a group, I won't say who it was, but it was sang, and my friend looked at me and he said, "That was really good." And I knew a Springdale group was coming next, so the Springdale group came and he was like, "Now was that a college group?" And I said, "No, that was a Springdale High School group." So I just want you to know that there is a very distinct difference when you hear their groups compared to other groups, and I'm very proud of that.
No, I just want to say one thing. These people are fun people. They're fun. You saw the band at the start of the year this year, the musicians that are collected in this district. There's no wonder that kids gravitate to them because they're great people. They never disappoint. I mean, in any way, in any phase of their life, and they're kid magnets. Who wouldn't want to be with them? I wanted to go on the trip with you. Send me those pictures. They're just fun, and I think they're great representatives of who this district is and the excellence that's dedicated to all kids. So,
We're lucky to have you.
Absolutely. Thank you, guys.
Good job.
Okay, next, I'd like to recognize and say a sincere thank you to some of our wonderful community partners for the contributions that they have made to our students, families, and staff. Community partnerships equals community success. I've said that 1,000 times. I'm going to keep saying that. Tonight's highlight partners include Tyson Foods. I'll just say a little blurb about each one of these. Tyson Foods donated countless pallets of food after a tornado, and also before the tornado and after the tornado. Walmart, same thing, just pallets and pallets of food. Sam's Club, same thing, pallets of food. Harps Foods, wow, what did Harps come through on this tornado? Did they donate a lot of food? And it was crazy. Diapers, I mean, you name it, it was all in there. Bimbo Bread Company is a new partner for the Treehouse Pantry. They're going to supply us with bread on a regular basis for families in need and students in need. Sam's Furniture provided their van to the day after the tornado was day of that they allowed us to use their van to take food out to community partners, and so it was just one more van that we were able to load up and move around. After School Program has donated countless resources and financial resources to Springdale School District. Innovative Business Solutions made a donation to the Treehouse Pantry. Fellowship the same way. And not only that, got to brag on Michelle Cook for mobilizing all of those volunteers from Fellowship and the diaper drive. It was awesome. And 7-Up Springdale, another donation to the Treehouse Pantry. U of A School of Law made a large donation to the Treehouse Pantry. Landers Toyota, same thing on all of these. Project Linus, Ghirardelli Chocolate. We were like, what? When they walked in and gave chocolate, and we were able to give that out, put smiles on people's faces. And she has said also, if we ever need chocolate, call. So I have her on speed dial, just so you know. And then Hamburg High School drove 5 hours to make a donation to the Treehouse Pantry. Prairie Grove also did. Har-BER High School, Gymnastic Joe's made donations. George Junior High, FCLA. And then Beta Alpha Psi from U of A did. Tri Delta did. Thrive Market made a large donation. We haven't received it yet, but they're going to donate flour and all kinds of stuff, so we can give that out to our next food giveaway on April 21st. West End Church of Christ made a large donation, financial donation. Also, Baldwin and Shell has made a huge donation of just material items for the Treehouse Pantry. BNSF Logistics, King Arthur Baking Goods, also donations to the Treehouse Pantry. Tulsa Rotary Club, you'll be seeing this on the Facebook page tomorrow, donated. He called me last week and said, hey, I've got 1,000 blankets for you. Would you accept that? And I said, absolutely. Do you have 1,800? I'm always working a deal, okay? And he's like, I've got, everybody who knows me knows I'm always working a deal. And he said, how about 2,000? I said, I'll take it. That'll cover 3 schools. We were able to give, I saw Dr. Flanagan back there in the back. George Junior High, every kid at George Junior High and staff got a blanket. Every kid at George Elementary and staff got a blanket. And every kid at Jones Elementary got a blanket, and the staff also. So Jill Jackson, who I love, like Jill and I were like brothers and sisters in a former life. She's amazing. She sent me pictures today that just filled my tank because kids had blankets around them. They were all smiling. Every kid in the classroom was smiling. Smile to hear with that blanket around them. So it was pretty awesome. Tulsa Rotary Club, that was amazing. Arkansas Blue Cross and Blue Shield has donated all kinds of resources. Same thing with Red Cross. And here's a big one. Springdale community. We've had people from all over this community come in with all kinds of stuff and just said they want to help. I believe everybody can help. I believe anybody that wants to can and should help. I think it's a great thing to help our fellow colleagues in need. And I'd say Springdale students and families have come out and helped give away diapers. They've helped give away food. And then Springdale staff. I mean, Jason Jones, I saw him sitting up there. I said, I need somebody to drive a van. I'm your guy. So Jason was driving a van door to door. Dr. Flanagan was. We had Kara Sedberry that was driving a van. Just our school staff really stepped up, and we are so grateful and thankful for that. So it's been a really humbling experience, and I'm very, very proud that I'm a part of the Springdale community here in Springdale. So anyway, any questions about that?
We know the next item has to do with tornado relief, and we've got some men and women who might likely have opportunities to say some things. Ms. Cook, and I know all the board members were involved either directly or semi-directly in relief. So, Ms. Cook, would you like to talk about the tornado and how this district and community came forward and some of the experiences that you personally had? Would you like to lead this conversation?
Unless Damon wants to.
Oh, no, go for it, yeah.
We got the email or the text message 5:30, 6 o'clock. I didn't see it till 7, but till 6 o'clock that morning. I did not even know that we had had a tornado until you started sending pictures. I got dressed as fast as I could and went to the Treehouse Pantry. I decided that George was not the place for me, that I would move away. And so I went to the Treehouse Pantry. And what I saw there in the next hours, days, week, whatever. At one point, I had to step back because one, and I'm going to start crying thinking about it now. One, I've never been more thankful for a storm in the middle of the night. To think about if that had happened hours later with our kids there. I mean, that just, so I had to step, but then also to look around and see, we were working phones with Harp's Food, we were working phones with Walmart, we were working phones, Fellowship was called, I mean, I was in awe of the town that I have known since birth and how everybody jumped in. The number of teachers, the pictures I have of the number of teachers that were working and just anxious to figure out how to get supplies to your families, how to get the calls I was getting from from university, from every department there, from churches all over, and it was just overwhelming to the sense of we live. There are days I know we fight and we all have differences of opinions, but we live in quite possibly the most amazing place in the world.
Agreed.
And then after to know 2 days later I mean, I had friends from all over the country calling, going, how are you doing? When are you gonna get to kids back in school? And I was like, they went back the next day. What about the gym? What about the cafeteria? I'm like, we have the greatest team in the history of, like, they should all wear the superhero.
Yeah.
And I don't think there's enough thanks to go around. I mean, again, every board member, every community member, everybody, every teacher, I mean, people that knew that they didn't have school that day were there.
Correct.
What can I do? How can I help? It was raining. We're all soaking wet. And it's still, I'll stay. How much longer? What do you need? People bringing the group, and I don't think we had them on there, that just out of the blue from Joplin brought
It's on here.
hot dogs
Yeah.
and hamburgers. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just,
And did you tell them what was written on the side?
no.
We just want to pay it forward. So they were from Joplin, Missouri, and they'd taken shoe polish and wrote on the side of their SUV, we just wanted to pay it forward on both sides of the SUV. That really spoke to me that day.
Yeah.
I mean, they said when they came out of their cellar, the mom told me when they came out of their cellar, there was nothing left. Like, it was flat. Everything was flat. And she said if it hadn't been from the generous donations of others to give to them, they would have had nothing that day. So pretty amazing folks. I'll say this too, those, the volunteers started showing up early at the treehouse, and they just kept coming and rolling in, and I lost count at over 100. There was over 100 people in that building. It's probably a fire code, Jeremy.
We had the doors open there.
Yeah, we had the garage doors up, so everybody could have got out easy. I will just say this, we gave over 100,000 pounds. We figured this up, 100,000 pounds away in 3 days, which was just amazing to me that we were able to do that much. We've never done that much before, ever. That's a new record there. And that pantry was full, just thank goodness it was full. And we were getting ready for an April event. We gave everything away that was in the pantry. I think you saw this, everything. I mean, that whole front room was full. We gave all that away, all the back room away. And then donations flooded and came in and replenished everything. So it's back to full, and we're gonna do another event on April 21st. So yeah, it's pretty amazing the kindness and the generosity of this community. So.
To add to that, so I made the event on Saturday, saw Justin there.
Absolutely.
At George, where they were giving away, some of the needs of folks, and seeing the amount of community partners that came together to back that was just amazing.
That was just a wild 36 hours. That's really what it was. And sure.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, I'm just impressed with how well you've been able to keep up with the people that have donated and did all the things. And I know that's part of what we do at Treehouse Pantry. But the day that happened, and just kind of touch on that event we did on that Saturday, on the day of the tornado, my phone's just blowing up from people across the state, really, in a lot of ways. And my email inbox is just full of community members who are like, what can we do to help? What can we do to help? So, we do the reopening plan that day. We're ready to open on Thursday, and I'll talk more about that, I guess, in a minute. But to tie a bow on this, I'm riding to work that morning, and I'm just like, I got all these families nearby who need support. I've got all these people who want to help. We just need to have an event. And so, called Miss Fink, was like, hey, I got an idea. I called Damon, I'm like, hey, I got an idea. They said, roll with it. And so in 36 hours, from Thursday morning until Friday evening, when we kind of said, okay, I think we're ready to go. But even then, Saturday morning, we still had stuff going. And to risk not pointing out so many people that helped out, and I see a lot of faces right here in front of me who were right there. I got to know you a lot better that day. I enjoyed hanging out with you that day. But during that day on Wednesday, Matt Fryer is the president of Rotary. His wife works at George, worked together at Lee for many years. I've known Matt a long time. And he texted me, he said, I know you're swamped. He goes, but I've got your back, whatever you need. So we had worked on some stuff like that before, and I just said, once I got the go-ahead, I called Matt. I said, hey, we've done stuff similar to this. I need some help. And so he said, do I need to take off work Friday? I'm like, yeah, Matt, take off work Friday. So long story short, the number of community members, I had a problem keeping up, and you were just talking about that, and you can't thank enough. But one of the things in my final outgoing email, hey, we had 160 volunteers here today. Hey, we gave out enough for 1,300 people. We tallied 1,300 people, or somehow were able to come through. Either their families were represented or so on. I said, I can't thank you enough, but I know you didn't do it for the thanks. And that I think sums up just what this region, and it was Springdale big time, but it was Northwest Arkansas. And then, like I said, I was hearing from people from across the state. And, one thing we've learned in recent years is about checking in on each other and social emotional health and mental health. And so I've had plenty of people check in on me in the last, couple of weeks. How you holding? In fact, a friend of mine who's an administrator in Rogers on the way over here text me, you okay? Yeah, I'm good. And I say this, I'm actually doing great, because I have the best seat in the house to watch this humanitarian response take place with people that I know personally. And so when people check in with me here in the last couple of weeks, and I think I've told people, I'm like, January and February at school was pretty hard. It was when the COVID numbers were high. We're seeing a lot of attendance issues, and heck, it struck me myself. And so it was like after that, that was a rough go. And then this happens, and I'm energized, y'all. I'm energized because of what I get to witness of what's going on. I mean, I don't wish what happened to us on anybody, obviously, but the energy I've gotten from being able to see Northwest Arkansas and Joplin, Missouri, I mean, just get to have the seat that I have as the principal in this situation. I got the best seat in the house. And so it's been a blessing for sure on that end of things. And I was going to lead off with, here's how the school responded, here's how the district responded, and here's how the community responded. Well, we kind of shifted gears a little bit. So that was just a blessing that continues. We've shifted, as people want to bring things, I've had to, at a certain point, say, I don't have storage, I don't have the means as far as employees. There's a certain part where we have to shift gears. We got to get back to teaching and learning. So these guys stand ready over at Treehouse Pantry, and I'm guiding people in that direction. And Damon's always ready. Great. Yeah, let's make this happen. Yeah, so that's kind of when people have stuff that they want to donate, we're shifting that over to make sure that, and I'm always telling them, and they help all Springdale families all year long. And so there's that. But people also come wanting to make monetary donations. And one of the things that we've said just to kind of help, and this continues, and community members are bringing in things left and right, gift cards that we can connect families with to say, hey, here's an easy way for you to put groceries in your house, or for you to make ends meet by shifting your budget line item over to whatever it is you need to do because you've got something taken care of with these Walmart cards. We've got people who want to provide individual family support, churches, so in addition to all of what we've seen with these big events, it's just this constant stream of how can I help at an individual level and how can I help at a grand level. That's just I think can sum our community response. At the school level, we on that day after, we quickly, and we actually started the day before with the teachers. Teachers were checking in with their kids. They knew who lived over there, and they were calling, sending out dojo, texting families, whatever, to figure out that day, hey, what's going on? But we really hit the ground running the next day, and I had our facilitators talking to teachers. we were talking to kids, and we quickly compiled a list of right at a little over 100 students that we knew were affected at George, and we have a little, if you count pre-K, a little over 625 students. And so that ranged from kids who were dealing with power outages all the way to full home demolition and fully displaced and are going to be displaced for a while. And so with that, we just became very aware of what are the needs. We've got this ongoing communication of needs with our counselors and our social workers. Damon provided, and talk about that team up here. They were a team. They were here. I had like 4 to 5 extra social workers during those initial days afterwards. I'm about to ask you for a couple more. We'll get to that later because it is an ongoing response. And so it's just been this ongoing, our counselors, social workers, talking to families, hey, we've got these resources, and we need you to come up here and we'll provide you these, or we'll bring those to you, or whatever the case. Those Walmart cards, I'd say right now, as of today, we were sitting at about $4,000 to $5,000 worth of those that had been donated. And we have a system, and we've created a system to say, here's who we need to get these in their hands, and here's how we're going to make sure we're not sitting on those, because those need to be responsive. So we've talked about the responsive. Oh, go ahead.
Interject something real quick while you're talking about counselors and teachers and your staff. I have a friend who lives on Hatfield, which is like 1 street north of you.
Mm-hmm.
And so their house got minimal damage, but it was really, really scary to their 8-year-old son that, they narrowly missed, and, he could look around and see the devastation to his school.
Oh, yeah.
He was too scared. Like, he was really, really scared. He didn't go back to school on Thursday. And his mom, my friend, contacted his teacher and just said, hey, he doesn't feel comfortable coming back. We'll try to get him there tomorrow. And rather than just say, okay, and let it go, they sent someone, like a counselor or someone, I'm not sure who it was, went to their house.
Yeah.
And sat down with that child in person and kind of said, it's safe. They're fixing everything. It's fine. Everybody's there. We're going to get back to school as normal. And so he went back on Friday and was super happy to be there again. But I just thought it was amazing that, somebody went to their house and sat down and had that conversation with them.
That's we've really had a chance, and what's unique about our school in terms of our staff and how we've joined a couple of schools together in the last year. And that's one of those pieces too, is that we're all behind taking care of kids. And that's a perfect example of one of the things we've seen that come from that. I'm not shocked at all. Wasn't even aware of that story, but I'm not shocked at all because of the responsiveness of our counseling team and our social work team, for sure.
He needs more of them, Damon. He needs more.
I'll be hitting him up. It's just a short-term
I
thing.
was
We
just
need
trying
some
to
help.
give you some.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah.
That's right, I
Listen
heard
to
it.
But, on that note, and one other thing that we actually plan-wise came up with today, as far as our school's response, what are we doing to take care of kids along the way and families along the way, met with our counseling team, and part of that includes our OGC staff. And we were hearing about kids who still have this level of anxiety, and they don't really rise to the need of, we need to do a full OGC referral and get the doctors involved and all of that process that takes place. So we made a plan today that our school-based health and wellness clinic has an OGC provided person, and she can do things a little different that normal OGC therapists can do. She'll be able to just pull a special group of students that we know are having anxiety related to storms or related to, what may have happened to their home, or like in the case of this child who may not have been as affected at their home, but is just scared to come to school. We're going to start just a little point-in-time group to say, hey, we're here to support you. We're going to provide you with skills on how to handle these kind of stressful situations. And if we see that there needs to be some long-term care, then we'll move them over to stronger support. So just the community, our school, but none of that conversation can take place until we talk about what our district did and how well our district I got there that morning, I don't know, what time did I call you? Like 5:15, 4 something? And so I was there pretty early. Within a very short amount of time, I had a tight core team of people, Ms. Fink, just a tight core team of people that were there helping us respond. And but I'd say within 2 hours, we had over 100 of your employees, of contractors. I think Milestone has definitely been a big responder in helping us support getting the school open. But the speed in which the repairs came, and it wasn't just about, hey, let's patch a piece of OSB on there and keep moving. It was it was making sure that we were safe to open school. And Jeremy will talk more about that, but just to say that they did a great job making sure we were open the next day. I was shocked. We served food out of the kitchen. That the main building, that was the hardest hit part, was the kitchen. We were serving food out of there next day. It had been deep cleaned overnight and repaired, and I'll let you talk more about that. But the district response, I can't say enough about Rusty Johnson. Wave, Rusty. He was there with Ms. Hernandez and I that day to help us make sure that we thought through all the logistics of how are we going to reopen school the next day with these concerns. I think two, obviously I've talked about the social workers, but then just all the other schools. I can't count the number of times that a PTA has said, hey, we raised this money for this, or we, and I call it food therapy, also known as, I should call it this, the Tornado 20. Because people have been bringing. It's like everybody's Baptist, I guess, and been bringing us food, and every day we've had people providing meals and so on, and so I call it the Tornado 20 because I think I gained 20 pounds in the last couple of weeks. But what it is it's our district responding to say we love you, we care about what you went through, we're here to support you. We're here to take a little load off or take a big load off if you need us to. Just call on us. So it's been great. Jeremy, I've gone on long enough, but Jeremy can talk the specifics about our district's response. I can tell you that they're phenomenal, and I'll let you fill in the blanks.
There is a big what's next, isn't there?
There is a big what's next. So we did get on site fairly quick, and the first calls I made was to my crew and had them come in early to get on site. We had a lot of contractors reach out. Board members were there, and just volunteers, just other school districts offering to bring equipment or personnel. So that was really, really good. All this was before 6 a.m. They were all calling. So we did have hundreds of people there within probably an hour and a half and started the cleanup efforts. And like Justin said, most of the damage was at the gym, a lot of the kitchen, the cafeteria, some restrooms, and then the southwest hall, the TPO roof had been lifted. All the gas lines on the roof were busted. Electric lines were busted on the roof where it had picked the roof up. So we got people there, started making repairs. By about 9:30 that morning, we had the roof temporary patched in so it would quit letting water in the building so we could start cleaning that up. By noon, I had talked to Dr. Cleveland and said, hey, we're good to have school. We had architects there, we had structural engineers there, we had insurance adjusters there. All the day it happened. A lot of them were there before noon, and then a few of them, it took till about 2 o'clock to get them there to give us the green light as the building's safe. So that was on Thursday, and then Friday we finished up the kitchen and the cafeteria, putting in new ceiling grid and ceilings to get the kitchens up and functional. And then on Friday, we just mainly focused on the playgrounds, getting the rest of the gym out of the way, and started the fine cleaning of the playgrounds to open those back up for pre-K. And then Monday, we finished up the playgrounds and opened them back up for the students. And then also on Monday, Dr. Stein came up and we started working on the plans for the repairs and rebuilding of the gym. We worked through some things on Monday and then met with Dr. Cleveland and Kelly and Dusty Graham on Tuesday to start coming up with the plan to rebuild. And we do have a timeline. We had 60 days from the day it happened to apply for some funding. So we're trying to speed up this process to see if hopefully that's an option.
Jeremy, you may not know this, but Tim Kane, the Director of Academic Facilities and Transportation, reached out multiple times. And he's coming on Friday to our grand opening at Rollins, and they're going to spend the afternoon with us going over the rebuilding process and helping make sure we don't miss a step and miss an opportunity for the appropriate amount of funding. So we really appreciate our Arkansas Department of Education. Of course, the governor reached out multiple times, probably even talked to some of you. I know he was highly involved with the mayor, Steve Womack, and others also were very standing ready to help. The overall response by the community has been fantastic. What's next, though, will take some time. You know, when you get handed an old term, a sow's ear, making a silk purse out of it can sometimes be difficult. But we know that's our charge. And connected with our quality insurance, the Arkansas Insurance Division, right, Mr. Hayes, we have replacement costs. And there may be community members who are interested in that. So more information is coming when we see the overall damage and how much replacement cost is allowed. But if you'll recall, we also had some projects headed toward George Elementary. We had a new front and some office spaces and certainly a media center. Now we have the opportunity to potentially reimagine that project and partner with the insurance funds, catastrophic funding from the Department of Ed, and our partnership funds to create a plan to really make a silk purse here with what we've been handed. Our state is committed to helping. Our insurance company, which is really the state, is prepared to help us, and it's just going to take a little time. So the George family that's over there, meaning the family, the community that's there, they'll be patient because they're going to have really a facelift for the entire building, and it's going to be good. But it's messy. Anybody who's ever remodeled their house while living in it, it's messy. And so for about 2 years, we expect that we'll have that messiness. But in the end, George Elementary School will be a bright, shiny penny again. And we want that. We need that. So, we're going to do it.
So the day after, I started getting packages in the mail. And so a lot of the students from first grade to fourth grade sent thank you letters. So I brought them for you guys to look at.
It'll make Jeremy tear up if he talks about it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just amazing, the amount of how quickly things were done. I mean, how awful the morning was, but how quickly,
Yeah.
and how thankful that there were just, people were not hurt.
Yes,
Yep.
very much.
I know Georgia's specialty here.
It was quite a deal to see. It took me
There
45
before
minutes to get there, and I live 5 minutes from there.
Yeah.
And I don't like to pull the school board card, but I had to start pulling my ID out,
Yeah.
showing policemen to let me through to get to the place, because they weren't letting anybody in there. And
I had to pick up Melissa Fink at Jones so she could ride with me to get through all of the debris and stuff to get on site that morning. So it was pretty rough getting into that side.
it was cool to just see what was going on.
Yeah.
Just to stand back out of the way and just watch you guys do your thing. It was pretty cool. And people reached out to me and were like, well, what do you need? Well, nothing. We got it. I mean,
Yeah. we had a lot of the equipment, and then luckily we had some contractors that had some heavy equipment on some other jobs that we have going close. So they were able to stop the IT parking lot at Paul Miller's building and move it to George. And then we had some contractors donate their dump trucks because we couldn't get dumpsters at the time. They couldn't get in. So we got dump trucks along with our dump trucks and just started trucking stuff out. So
The saddest thing I saw, I got there and the PE coach was standing there with everybody, and he had one ball under his arm. And I said, what do you do at the ball? I said, that's all I got left. I mean, he was about ready to lose it, and I felt so bad for the guy. I mean, he's a great guy, and we're like, well, we're gonna make it even. You're gonna have the best gym in the city when we're all said and done with
He
it.
wrote that down, by the way.
yeah.
So, but it was just sad. You know, had one ball.
On behalf of all of you. It'll be the best gym in the whole state, I think is what he said.
Don't push it. Don't push it.
Waving that badge around saying,
Yeah, I'll fix it.
I was not surprised, knowing your history with George Elementary, that I saw you there before 6 a.m. that morning.
Well, the tornado warning I got was after the fact, and I didn't do nothing about it until I got his text. And when I got his text, I was up, and I mean, gas leak, fire. I'm like, holy crap. So I got dressed and.
Do I need to publicly apologize to your wife for upsetting her for my phone call that morning?
So I was in the bathroom trying to scrounge around to get my clothes on to get there, and I had Mr. Swope on speaker, and my wife was within earshot, not knowing really what's going on, and I hear Mr. Swope start yelling, "Fire, fire, there's fire in the gym, I gotta go," and that was it. And I was left with, I have no idea what's going on.
You did give me permission to hang up. I waited.
I'm like, you gotta go. And she said, what? And she was began, emotional because he was emotional. And I said, we're handling it. It'll be fine. So police and fire, they were outstanding.
Yep.
We have the finest men and women in uniform in our community. Overall, as difficult as the day was, and as the days have been, the overall outpouring of support with not only monetary, food goods, but human capacity and capital, that really is why Springdale is, in my view, so special to everyone that's here. Now, Ms. Cook said it really well. There are always some bumps in the road. But overall, when you have the same mission, especially when you have the focus on what's good for children, how to do that quickly and how to do it with efficacy, people just join in, and it really is a sight to see. So, thank you guys.
Thanks.
Well, I was just gonna say, and Sarah and her team and everybody, Sarah and then all the social workers and Mary Ann Miller, I mean, just everybody that jumped in and helped that day and were there all day and managing all of us and just keeping track of everything was just.
But I'd like to invite Ms. Coraline Flanagan. Ms. Coraline Flanagan, you all know now, she was highly involved in the response of the tornado effort and has been a fixture with our social workers and certainly the Treehouse Pantry. Ms. Coraline has agreed to help create a new pathway in our school district for our kindergarten through 8th grade alternative ed, which will be located in the wing over adjacent to London Children's Nap. But she's been named the admin over that program in conjunction with the Archer program with Dr. Davis. So, Ms. Coraline, I'd like to introduce you for the first time to this entire group as the new assistant principal over K-8, Archer.
So I want to thank Dr. Cleveland for this opportunity and believing in me and my ability to lead the KA Connect program alongside Dr. Davis. I'm excited about the years to come and all of the things that we will have in place, the systems that we'll have in place to support students and families in this program. I also want to thank the school board, Dr. Smith, Ms. Fink, Ms. Tisher, Mr. Hayes, Mr. Donnell, and Dr. Davis for their support. So, thank you.
We're excited to have you.
Thank you.
I enjoyed kind of getting to know you just a little bit at the Treehouse Pantry and just seeing how energetic and how focused you worked there. I know that we're in good hands. So
Thank you.
Excited to have you.
Thank you.
The great thing about Miss Corleen is she's the best Flanagan. Dr. Flanagan.
Okay, your son, that's the.
Jackson.
Jackson, because he was nice enough to do a TV interview for me, and so he's pretty special too.
Ms. Flanagan said one time, there's no one that'll outwork her, and she's now proved it. She has proved it, and so we are so excited and so appreciative that you want to invest in children here, raise your children here, and be a resident. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Ms. Cook, we've had some interesting things happen with our legislature this year. One of the things that happened is they realized that there was a major issue with the academic calendar start date. As you know, we've had to try to figure out how that works. Miss Jill Law is a calendar creator like no other, and she's worked hard with the curriculum team and all the rest of us to come together with you this evening to make a proposed amendment.
Yes, so what we did was we took the original calendar, which was okay, but we didn't like having to do the 2 weeks. Getting to start that 3 weeks before Memorial Day really just makes the calendar flow much better. The adjustments we made, of course, we started the week earlier. Normally, we normally start? The 15th. We ended our quarter. I ended the quarter. I adjusted that a little bit. We'll actually end the quarter on Thursday the 13th, which is the day before Flex Day. So we kind of ended as a nice ending of the week. We started back on a Monday, which flows much better rather than starting and ending a quarter like on a Tuesday or Wednesday. So we did that. December, we'll go 2 days into the week before Christmas. We'll come back a little bit longer into January, which some of the teachers are like, we love having that little bit of time after the first and after the second. We couldn't come back on the second anyway because that'll be our recognized New Year's Day holiday. We added the flex days the same, the ending in March the same, and then we were able to shorten that end of May. We'll be getting out before Memorial Day now rather than June the 1st, which was on the original calendar. So really the only differences from the original one that you approved was we started a week earlier. We're going to get out a week earlier in May, and we adjusted the ending and beginning of the first and second 9 weeks because I think it was originally like 44 days and then 40 days. So I tried to balance that out a little bit with 43 and 41 days in that first and second 9 weeks because we can have 40, we can't go over 50. Third quarter is 50 days, which that's normally, if we're going to miss days, we always seem to miss them in that third 9 weeks for snow, or this year was COVID and snow and ice and what else was it in that third 9 weeks that we missed school for? It seemed like we missed so much in that third 9 weeks. So those are the only things that were really the difference. But getting to start earlier just made the calendar flow so much better, I feel. So do y'all have any questions on the calendar?
It did go to a full vote of the...
Yes, the full vote, I think, was 85% of the staff voted for the earlier start date. It was an 85%. So it was a pretty dominant that the staff wants that earlier start. I think it was not so much the earlier start, but the earlier end date. The May is, I think, sometimes more. We like before Memorial Day. It also gives us that little bit of leeway if something should happen and we've got to add a day at the end due to snow. Let's hopefully we don't have any more COVID stuff that we have to miss for that or things like this where we have to. So hopefully it gives the kids one extra day. The teachers will be out before Memorial Day and then everybody can enjoy their time.
I make a motion that we approve the revised 22-23 school calendar.
I have a motion by Mrs. Creek, a second by Mr. Ramos to approve the revised school calendar for 22-23. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Okay. Fabulous.
Jill, I appreciate it.
Hopefully we won't see you again.
I've never asked for this before.
Yes.
Please.
That would be lovely. Stop.
Thank you. It's up to you.
10 minutes.
That's okay? All right, thank you.
Sorry. I know y'all were like ready going, I'm ready, I'm going up.
6:30.
Dr. Smith, the curriculum team. Invite you to the front.
Good evening, Dr. Cleveland Board. We are here to discuss the District Professional Learning Community Wednesday Collaborative Team Meetings. And at the end, I am going to ask for I'm going to seek your approval to move forward. So just kind of giving you a heads up. First of all, I want to give you a little background. I know you've had time to reflect on some of the information that we've provided you. I know that you've reached out to seek additional information, so I'm so glad you're in this learning process with us. But I want to tell you a little bit about where we've been. So we began this journey approximately 8 years ago. Some were doing it a little bit earlier, where we decided we were going to be a PLC district. And what I can say is on that time, we were doing PLC light. And our intention is to always do PLC right. And so that's where we're heading right now. So just a little, I know you've seen this model numerous times, but I wanted to bring your attention to the bottom part of this structure. So in the PLC process, the foundation of all the work that we do relies on those three things. Learning is our fundamental purpose. Notice it doesn't say teaching, it says learning. And that is not just for our students, but for our adults. Learning has to be the fundamental purpose. And that we're committed to working together, meaning that we work stronger and better collectively. Hattie says if we have collective teacher advocates, that's like an increase 4 years for 1 year of growth. So that's what we need to be doing. And then not intentions driven, but results driven. We have to look at the results and not be intention driven. So that's been the model that we've been using. This is the Springdale PLC model, and that's kind of where our journey is going. That our goal is to build this solid structure from all the different people in our district and be PLC strong, PLC right. So we started back, I think in November, talking about how is it we do PLC right. Well, if you kind of look at the structures we've had, 8 years ago we began the journey, and in this process what happened is we started doing pockets of people having PLCs, and they started growing in their ways of doing PLC and getting stronger in their PLCs. But what made us light is that not every single person in our district had the opportunity to learn and grow. And so really what this opportunity is to allow every single person in our district in a certified position to actually learn and grow and get better at their craft. And as you know, that in isolation, we're not as strong as if we are in collaboration. So if you will look back in, I think December, we had our first kind of deep dive with you into the PLC process, and you said, yes, go ahead and get some feedback from our community. So we reached out, sent out a survey numerous times, and we've collected almost 4,000 results from the survey, and I've broken it up into two parts, but I wanted to tell you where people's thoughts lie in this Wednesday opportunity. So you'll see that solid line. Above the solid line, we have parents and students, and you'll see the number. You'll see that 86% of the people took it were parents, 13% were students. You can see the average score, the mean score out of 5. And on the far right, you'll see those that were in neutral, agree, or strongly agree for this opportunity on Wednesday. I did want to bring special attention to the students. You would say, well, it's kind of low for students. But one of the things that I found is that students, in many cases, after reading their why, it was because they thought maybe Friday would be a better day to do this. So they were out earlier. So it wasn't necessarily they were for or against it. They just had other ideas of when it should occur and maybe some opportunities like that. So, and then down below, you'll see the certified and classified results with a 70% falling just like the parents in agree, strongly agree, or neutral for this opportunity. I also wanted to bring some comments. There was 2,000 or so comments that I can't bring them all in, and I did just pick a handful out. You'll notice the first one is somebody that's in favor of it. The reason they're in favor of it is because it actually gives a little bit of downtime for her children who spend so much time with all the different things they're doing. You can also see the second one It does decrease some core CTM times, but it also increases the opportunity for all teachers across the district to have this opportunity. The third one is just talking about, I have mixed feelings, and you can kind of go through that. An additional concern is that they will meet 3 days a week currently, and it will reduce it to 80 minutes, which would be maybe a little over 2 times a week. So, and then you can see the last two. These were a little more those that were maybe not in favor of it. Some of the comments that we did read were also trying to figure out ways to build capacity in one particular grade band and not in another grade band. And so we tried to take all this feedback that you will see here and try to meet the needs of every single question that we could possibly and address those. So from the surveys, we put together a Q&A, and I'm just going to go through some of these questions, and then at the end of these, if you feel like there's questions I haven't answered, one of us will be more than happy to answer it. We also have a room full of administrators, so like it's a win-win. So I'm letting them get ready just in case. So what are the benefits? So really this is about the teachers and giving them an opportunity to grow in their craft. This should have, or I shouldn't say should, this will have a direct impact on student achievement. So if we are really focused on student learning and not teaching so much, but student learning, and we look at every single student and what they need to move from one place to the next to move them up, then this will have a dramatic impact on student achievement. Many teachers don't have the opportunity to receive ongoing peer professional development because they don't have an opportunity like this. And so this will give every single teacher in our district the opportunity to have peer professional growth weekly. And then for parents and students, this is an opportunity for them. You know, a lot of students miss instructional time because they're out for numerous appointments, therapies, and so this is also a way for them to build that in on Wednesday so that they're not losing instruction. Okay, so I know this has been a very big question. Will my child lose instructional time? And so the answer is no. The instructional time will remain the same in a few cases, but for most cases it will increase. And people are asking, how does that happen? So let me try to clarify. So we're adding 10 minutes of instruction to every single day. That's 50 minutes. Currently, the teachers that have in elementary that have a collaborative team time spend about 40 minutes. And that is out of instructional time. So they build it in out of instructional time so they can meet. That will now go back to instructional time. So that is another 40 to 50 minutes. That goes back. You add those two together, and that's approximately 100 minutes. So we are getting an 80-minute time for teachers to meet, but they're getting 100 minutes back of instruction. That's one example. In other areas, it's very similar. Some of them that have a little more time in the CTM time, it will say about the same. So I don't know if I explained that clearly, but the goal is not to lose instructional time. Okay. Athletes, what happens with our activities? And so we want to be really transparent. We don't want to make this decision as a curriculum and instruction team or as we feel that every school is in a different place. They all have different programs that meet at different times. And so it's going to be really important for us that we get feedback from those individuals that have those programs to make sure we figure out what meets their needs best. But we did want to let the parents know that our goal is to have supervision during this time for students that want to stay and have other opportunities for them. So I wanted to talk about that. Okay. This was a question that popped up, and I wanted to say, they asked, who's going to be creating these CTM agendas? And that was, I'm guessing, from one of our staff. And the idea is that we have to create a system. So the district will create a system about where they'll be loaded and how they'll be, the expectations of when they'll be loaded. But the idea is a PLC or a CTM time, a collaborative team time, is really driven by the teachers. And so those teachers will be adding the items to the agenda and working through that. So hopefully that answered the question. This has probably been the most pressing, and I want to be very, very, very clear that this is our current look at what we think we can accomplish. We are still working with transportation, so there might be some wiggle room, a couple minutes here or there that we might have to adjust. But this is what we currently feel will work with transportation. And we also went through the survey results, and based on what parents said about when they wanted to meet, we tried to create these schedules based on that feedback. And so currently, the elementary times will remain the same. They will start at 7:45. The elementary students, I'm going to kind of just look at elementary for a minute. So currently, teachers have 15 minutes. 10 of that will be absorbed with instruction, and 5 of that will not. So the teachers will have 5 more minutes than a student does in these regular days. So teachers will go from 7:45 to 3:15, which is their current schedule. Students will go from 3:45 to 3:10, which is 10 minutes longer. Then on Wednesdays, they will get out early, and they'll go from 7:45 to 1:50. Middle school, this is, they'll be going from 8 to 3:30 for the teachers. Students will start 5 minutes later. And then on Wednesday, you'll see they'll go from 8:05 to 2:10. And the junior high and high school, we tried very hard to keep that end time at 4, but with transportation, we knew we were going to have to make a slight adjustment. So currently, their teachers come in at 8:30 to 4, so they'll be coming in at 8:35, and they'll stay till 4:05. And then on Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Fridays, students will go from 8:40 to 4:05, and on Wednesdays, they will be dismissed at 2:45. And we will try to make sure that we get this out to everybody as quickly as possible. But again, I want to say it again, this is very important that we are still working with transportation. This is a model right now that we think will work, but they're also working on some other things, and so there might be a slight adjustment. I know there's been question about when will CTM, what will their times be? Keep in mind, they start at different times, so their times will look slightly different, but this is the current expectations of our CTMs. They'll be, elementary will be from 1:55 to 3:15, middle school 2:10 to 3:10, and then junior high and high school's 2:45 to 4:05. And that will be on Wednesdays. Again, it says tentative because it depends on that first set of time frames. And then the last thing is talking about their children. So I know there's concern from parents to say, what's going to happen with my child? And we have tried to look at every possible scenario as people have sent us information. We've tried to immediately get on it and address it. So I want to tell you what we have currently. The parents on Wednesday, the bell will ring when class is dismissed, and parents can either pick up their child at that time or buses will run. So that will be at the end of the instructional time, not at the Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday time, so it'll run earlier. Many after-school programs, I think almost all of them have agreed to go ahead and do an earlier pick earlier start for their after-school programs to accommodate this, so we're working with them. I know Mr. Donnell said a big thank you to our after-school program. Through COVID, they have gone above and beyond, given us lots of support financially, everything you could possibly think of. And when we came up with the idea that we're going to need their help, they came along and said, what do you need? What can we do to help you? And so we do have an after-school program in most of our elementaries and middle schools. And if not, we have a CCLC program. So that's kind of what we're looking at. They have agreed to start earlier with no additional cost to families during that time. Parents must enroll their student in the after-school program, and that is for up to ages 13, so elementary and middle school students can come to that. Yes?
I just want to clarify, so like if they're enrolled, they're paying already, so it says no additional cost.
Yes.
So like if your kid isn't in ASP the other 4 days, like you couldn't just bring them on Wednesday?
Yes, they do have a one-day. They do have a one-day where your child can go for 1 day, and I've been talking with Ms. Tucker from After School Program about what that cost might be. So there is a one-day cost if you just choose to have your child there 1 day. And then we also have CCLC programs, 21st century programs that are currently working with the people in the building to figure out what will this look like for students during this time so they can still get the support they need with the CCLC program. I know Helen Tyson's brought their proposal forward, and it was really, really good about how they were going to use some of their current staff to help support that program until the teachers were done with CTM, and then they would go into that after-school CCLC program. So we do have some great ideas that we're moving forward. I'm guessing you guys may have a lot of questions. I'm here to answer any questions, so is the team. I know we've given you a lot of literature on this. We've shared a lot of things with you. You've brought a lot of great ideas to us, and then we tried to figure out solutions. So I appreciate all that. So we were able to move forward with this. I do believe when I think about the number of teachers in our district that do not have time to collaborate, and they do not have time to grow professionally unless it is being removed from a class and sent somewhere. This is a really great opportunity for us to go from, like I said, PLC light to PLC right, where every single person feels valued in our district to have this time to collaborate. Any questions?
Just one thing, if that's okay.
Yes.
Thank you. I've always understood that if you continually do the same thing, you very likely are going to continue to get the same results. And understanding at this time that our student achievement is our focus. Our community wants our children to learn and grow and become great citizens and great employees and leaders. If they are shortchanged by inadequate preparation, this is an opportunity for preparation to be really amped up, and that peers can work together instead of being siloed alone. I've told you the story of when I first started as a teacher, I was the only social studies person, and they said, your room's down there and maybe there are some books. That first year was really tough, probably for my staff or for my children, but really tough for me. Having peers to help me walk through that process and become a better teacher faster will improve the students, would have improved my student ability or my delivery and student learning. This is an opportunity for all staff to have that collaborative time. And as we know, and she said it beautifully, collaboration trumps isolation every time. So this is our chance. If our ranking, as far as schools go, if we don't try to adjust, and if it doesn't work, as you said, Ms. Cook, one time, we can change it. We can do better in another way, but this is an opportunity for us to try to push forward and improve our academic achievement. And we need to do that for our kids.
I have a question for all three of you, or an opportunity, I guess, for the three of you. What about this program, or what about this opportunity has drawn it to you? I mean, I know a lot of people may think that it's being done across the country, so it's not something that we just dreamed up. But I mean, what about it makes the three of you want to do it, or makes the three of you want to spread it to your respective schools, whether it's the elementary or middle or high?
I'll say two things. So one, I believe collective teacher efficacy is so important. That means every single person in every single building has to own every student in that building. It can't be, I'm the English teacher helping to get our reading scores up, or I'm the math teacher trying to improve it. Everybody in that building can have an impact on students' ability to read and their math performance. I think that's where we started years ago down the PLC process of how do we improve. I personally know that, and I'm going to say it's been 10 years, but I personally know that we went out on a limb on the school that I was at, and we said we're going to ensure that every single person has ownership in reading one particular year, and there was high expectations, and it was built with a lot of the collaboration with the teams that did have PLC, and it was the largest growth the state had seen that year. And so I personally know the value of collective commitments from people, but people do the best they can. Our teachers are working very, very hard, doing the best they know to do. This is an opportunity to provide them with support with things they don't even know they can do to get better. So, and I'll let them speak.
I think for me, I think children, regardless of the color of their skin or where they live, deserve a very high quality education. The students who live on one side of town or in one certain neighborhood deserve the same education that students get in a more affluent neighborhood. And we're only going to do that if we're building the capacity of our teachers, tying back to what Dr. Smith said with collective teacher efficacy. Unpacking our standards, looking at the rigor of the standards, and ensuring that what I'm teaching in my classroom is the same level of rigor that somebody else is teaching in their classroom, and then taking that knowledge and that information and bringing it back to students and how they're performing on their assessments is the way that we're going to start moving the needle for all of our children. And that's what makes me very passionate about this work, is my desire to see every child succeed and be successful and grow up and be productive citizens in our community.
I would say that being an educator is an incredibly difficult job. And I think that every educator should be valued in a way that allows them time to collaborate and grow as professionals together. And I think that being an educator goes so much further than planning a lesson. And then modifying a lesson. It's how am I going to deliver my instruction? How do I know if my students get it? What do I do when they don't get it? What do I do when they do get it? What does my assessment need to look like? How do I truly know if students are grasping the instruction that I'm designing and delivering? Those conversations are essential to the growth of our professionals, but also to student achievement. And then also, it's important that teachers know where every single child is on the continuum of learning and how to move every single child, wherever that child may be. And I think that it's important to say to our teachers, we value you in a way where we feel it is important to allow you this time to collaborate together, learn together, grow together, discuss every child that you impact every day and where they are on the continuum of learning. Learn from one another, be vulnerable together, be transparent with one another, and let's dig deeper than we ever have before and move every single student in this district. And that is 100% why this is important to me. Secondary teachers, no matter what content area you teach, your content is equally important and impressionable on any child that walks through your door. And I think that we need to invest that time and energy to collaborate across the board.
Board, I'm sure y'all have questions.
Can you elaborate, and I've missed a couple things, but can you elaborate, see some of the times on here?
Mm-hmm.
Had up there earlier, where the additional time is coming from? 'Cause I see
Yes.
elementary starts at the same time and just lets out 5 minutes later.
So elementary, there's 10 minutes added to every single day of the week for each grade level. That's 50 minutes. Currently, in elementary schools, I'm talking specifically elementaries, for a teacher to have collaborative team times, they are pulling out of instruction and trying to figure out ways in their schedule to get that once a week, 45 minutes of time. That will now go back to instruction. So you add that 40 minutes with the 50 minutes, and that's 90 minutes of instruction. So, and that was one specific example.
That was gonna be my question, was for the parent that has a high school or a junior high student, they come to me and go, "You're an idiot. You're getting rid of 80 minutes of instruction time. My kid needs an extra 80 minutes. He doesn't need to be giving up 80 minutes." Explain to us how that's going to work. How do I tell that parent that's not what's really happening? Here's what we're doing. So tell me.
I'm going to give you some examples of the high school specifically. I know Dr. Greep and Mr. Jones both came in, it's probably been about 2 months ago, with the idea of let's look at what the schedule would look like to meet these 80 minutes. So they are adding 10 minutes, which will then go into the classrooms. And they have advisory, and one of their solutions was if we absorb advisory during that time will also go back into those classes as well. So that's, I think, 30 minutes, so 30 plus 50 is 80.
So it's a wash. In essence, they're getting
For some of the
same
schools,
amount-
it will be the same, yes.
Same amount of instruction after this is enacted versus before it was enacted.
And it will look different. So Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, those periods will be longer. And then on Wednesday, they'll be shorter.
There won't be any school of all 31 with less instruction. Everyone is either the same or more instruction than they have today. Elementary will be more for this one. Most of mine in secondary and
Per
junior
day.
high high school are about the same. Mostly.
The student's instructional day is extending, the teacher's instructional day is not, so the teachers will spend more time with students than they have traditionally. Does that help?
And keep in mind, we do have guidelines from the State Department that says you have to meet these many minutes, it has to look like this. So we are, when we brought in the high schools and said, let's look what your schedule would look like, that was what our focus was. How are we meeting all these rules and regs that are coming down to us and still, providing students with quality instruction?
I don't have a question. I am good with it.
Mine were answered.
I think probably the most beneficial thing is to make sure we understand, like the couple of questions that Randy and Eddie had about how would we explain it when we get questions. But, you guys need to figure out the logistics. That's not us. Ours is the directional purpose of what your intentions are. If we can get our staff and our administrators more professional learning that will benefit our kids, then that's what we need to do.
Thank you.
When I think about this, I think Randy will back me up on this. When we went to JB Hunt and saw their collective meeting there, it was something else to watch. Watching teachers come together and try to help certain kids that needed the extra help, and for them all to just have that one meeting to help the one kid that they talked about or they presented to us was amazing to me.
Like a clinical team, as if your child had a doctor team.
Any other questions? Okay. And we are more than happy if something pops up to, provide you with information, and before, later on, we'll be more than happy to do that. So I guess at this time, I'm going to seek your approval to move forward with our collaborative team meeting times on Wednesdays,
This would be next year.
starting next year, yes. We have a lot of planning to do to prepare everybody so it goes smooth.
And before we move forward, I do want to say, we've done things, Springdale has typically been a leader in the state, if not in the nation. We have done things before that appear, and were when we started them, overwhelming, scary, we can't do it, there's no way. And we look back at several of those things, John Tyson being one of them, we look back at several of those things and they were, well, at the time, overwhelming decisions, they were good decisions. I have seen, when I visited at White River, I've seen this work in an entire district. I know that it's overwhelming and it's a lot of work. But when it does happen and when it does work, it is amazing. And I, just from the standpoint of what I saw, I believe that our students and our teachers deserve it.
Can I add one thing? We visited with the professionals from the PLC Institute, which helps drive our conversations. And we've had very, very in-depth conversations with a lot of the individuals. And we asked them, what does an ideal time frame look like? And so I know we have people that have, as you saw in some of the comments, 3 times a week that they meet. And they said, if this work is done right with fidelity, you can do it in 60 minutes. Anything more is going to be amazing. So that has been a very big comfort, because I know when people say there's not a possibility of doing this, if we focus it right and we structure it right, we can get this work done in this amount of time. We will have a laser focus on students and giving teachers that opportunity.
I was just wondering if any administrators in the room from any level want to give your opinion on it, or kind of what the feeling in your building is or anything?
Good or bad, too.
Yeah, good or
Yeah,
bad.
I mean, we'll take both.
Dr. Creek, if you don't mind.
Well, I know that we've done a lot of thinking. I know the district has done a lot of thinking about this initiative, and we've learned a lot going through the PLC process this year, taking a team to Little Rock. When I think about the teachers, though, that don't have that kind of time, I just think it's the right thing to do. Today we were visiting with some of our ag teachers, and we just said, it was about a different subject, but we said, well, what would it be like for you, if you had this opportunity? And it was just like, wow, to be able to have this protected time, to be able to collaborate, not only within our department, but within our feeders. I think it's going to be a game changer. So I support this. I feel like our teachers support it. There will be an adjustment for those that, have 250 minutes a week and go down to a smaller period. But, if it helps move student achievement across the board, then it's the right thing to do, in my opinion. So.
You mentioned ag teachers. My son that graduated last year was diagnosed with dyslexia, and so some of the core subjects were a problem for him, but he loved ag. And it was his ag teacher that got him to read just for the sake of reading.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking if he would have been on a collaborative team, and he could have talked to maybe even some of the core teachers about, well, here's kind of what I did to motivate him. I mean, he did well in school anyway, but I think that could be pretty powerful.
No, and I agree, and I'm glad you said that, because, I think the vision is not just giving time, but it's giving, purposeful time. As we think about literacy, every teacher's a literacy teacher. How can business support literacy in their content? They're doing it, but are we doing it with a focus that, we could use data to say, how are we all supporting reading through, different text or whatever. So again, I just think I think it'll be benefit. So thank you.
Quick question before we move forward. So how many certified folks do you think will impact that have never really had structured PLC? Anybody? How many will this be like a new
So I'm going to say probably about 60% of the high schools, less for the junior highs, quite a bit less for middle schools. So, yeah, so right now, I don't have numbers. I would have to ask them in the back, my back row back there. But for each of the high schools, you can estimate that approximately 60% of the current teaching staff does not have this opportunity. Some of the schools, it may be closer to 65% or even nearer to 70%. And when I say that, I'm speaking about Springdale High, HAR-BER High, and Archer Learning Center. Ms. Bortz's school at DTSOI is structured a little bit differently because of their waivers and some of the opportunities that they have based on their learning environment there. Junior highs, I can tell you that in a junior high, only the core teachers have this time currently. No specialty subjects, so no elective teacher in a junior high would have this opportunity currently.
Any other questions?
Questions? I don't know. Motion?
One. I'll make a motion to approve the district professional learning community Wednesday collaborative team meeting time. That is a long.
Good job. I have a motion by Mr. Ramos to approve the collaborative team meeting time. I have a second by Mr. Owenby. All of those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. We have a lot of work to do.
Good evening, Board. Dr. Cleveland. I have several items for you this evening. The first one is in connection with our annual school election, which is next month. We have to have a proposed budget of expenditures for 2 years forward approved by the board and then published in a paper. And so basically what I do is I look back at history and I extrapolate numbers forward. So just to be clear, this is a proposed budget of expenditures, not for next school year, but for the following school year. And it just is a requirement in order to hold our annual school election.
I've always been curious, why? What's the connection in today's election and 2 years from now, the expenditures? What's the?
You know, I wish I had a good answer for you on that. The state legislature hasn't even set funding for that year yet.
Right.
So,
They want us to do things that they're not even, that they haven't done.
When I was at the state as assistant commissioner on finance, we did use some of those figures for expectations of budget for overall state. So if you look, if the district is growing, you see those numbers.
But how's that tied to an election? I mean, how does that?
Well, that's for publication and for voters to understand what that budget may be in a couple of years. It's just for forecasting. And quite frankly, it's old requirements that have not been changed.
Yeah, when you gotta use proposed, extrapolate.
the only number I'm confident of is that's going to be our debt payment unless y'all refund or sell more bonds between now and then. But I can tell you, that is going to be our debt payment. What?
It's not the only fixed number.
It's the only number that I'm confident in on there. Exactly. Yeah.
Board, do I have a motion?
So moved.
I have a motion.
I'm gonna let you read it. You got it right there.
You're enjoying this until.
I am. 2 more months.
I have a motion by Mr. Hutchinson to adopt the attached proposed budget of expenditures with tax levy for fiscal year beginning July 1, 2023 to and including June 30th, 2024, and to approve all related election documents. Motion by Mr. Hutchinson, a second by
Excellent job.
Mr. Owenby. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Well,
Motion passes.
thank you for another year of that.
Do we have any election news, or is that next?
It's just, it's the day of the primary, the spring primary. Is that May 24th?
I'm running unopposed, so.
Well, no, but I mean, we have to have certain.
It's May 24th.
You let him worry about that.
I know, but he usually doesn't. Anyway, okay, sorry.
The next item that I have on the agenda for us this evening is our audit report for the year ended June 30, 2021. And this evening we have with us Sarah Gentry. Sarah is a principal with HCJ CPAs, and they are the firm that we've used to conduct our audit for a number of years.
Thank you. Thank you, Board and Dr. Cleveland. We appreciate the opportunity to perform the audit each year and to be here tonight to present. And we would like to give a really great thank you to Kelly Hayes. He and his accounting staff do a fantastic job during our audit fieldwork in responding to our questions in a timely fashion. And we have a lot of requests. We make a lot of requests. They have to pull a lot of documentation, and they're always very prompt with their responses. So we really appreciate all your help throughout the engagement. As you can see, you have the audit report in your packet. Our responsibility in relation to the audit of the financial statements is to express an opinion on those financial statements that the balances are materially correct. We issued an unmodified or clean opinion on the financial statements on the regulatory basis of accounting, which is the basis of accounting promulgated by the Arkansas Department of Education to be used by the school districts across the state. The balance sheet on page 4 is set up in fund column format, which is also regulated by the regulatory basis of accounting. The general fund consists of the operating funds of the district and the restricted state funds. The special revenue funds consist of the federal programs and the food service funds. The other governmental funds consist of your capital projects and your debt service. And then your fiduciary funds consist of your funds the district holds in merely a agency capacity, like your band boosters and your student clubs and stuff of that nature. Your fund balance analysis, looking at the general fund, you have a fund balance of $26.2 million. Approximately 4.6 of that is restricted for future state programs, and then the remaining 21.6 million is unassigned. Special revenue funds, the entire $12.9 million of that fund balance is restricted for future federal program use. And then other governmental funds of the $35.6 million, $34.6 million of that is assigned for future capital projects, while $1 million of that is related to the sinking funds, which is restricted for future debt payments. Looking at the statement of revenues, expenditures, and changes in fund balance on page 5. It's also set up in fund format, so in each column represents your separate funds. The general fund experienced a net increase in the fund balance of $1.6 million. Total revenues were up were $220 million. That was an increase of $15 million from the prior year, which was mostly due to property taxes. And the Washington County was late in getting their property tax statements out last year, which then pushed into this year and kind of increased your property taxes in the current year. So that was the biggest reason for that increase. Total expenditures of the general fund were $191.4 million, which was approximately $1.4 million increase from the prior year. It's mostly due to the increase in staffing, most specifically related to the career and technical positions at the School of Innovation, and then some employee bonuses that were able to be provided in the current year. The increase in expenses also related to some additional COVID protection-related expenses, and then the district having to purchase some more technology and supplies for virtual instruction in the current year in response to some of that COVID-19 pandemic and students remaining virtual. The general fund also transferred $27 million to the debt service and capital projects funds, so you'll see that transfer in the bottom section. The special revenue funds experienced a net increase in the fund balance of $54,000, so it's pretty break even. Those are your federal funds, and those programs at the federal level are set up to be mostly cost reimbursement now, so that's why it's pretty close to break even in those funds. And then your other governmental funds experienced a net decrease in fund balance of just $277,000. So revenues in those funds were up $2 million in the current year, mostly due to receiving some more facilities partnership monies specific to your School of Innovation Phase 2 and your Rollins elementary renovations. So your capital outlays were also a little higher in the current year by $800,000 due to some more construction and remodel projects. Your debt payments also run through that fund, which were approximately $12 million in the current year between your principal and your interest payments. The next page, page 6, is your budget to actual. It's presented for both the general fund and the special revenue funds. The general fund experienced a net favorable variance in the current year of $6.4 million from budget. That's mostly because of those property taxes that we talked about. So the district tried to budget for those additional, so they budgeted an increase of 8%, but they came in at even higher than that. So the biggest chunk of your net favorable variance in your general fund relates to those additional property tax revenues. Special Revenues Fund, you experienced a net favorable variance of 1.1 million, and that was due to some additional COVID relief funds, mostly federal revenues coming in related to some COVID relief monies that were higher than anticipated. So that was the biggest change in your special revenue funds. Page 7 starts the notes to the financial statements. They remained pretty consistent with prior year's presentation, so we are not gonna bore you guys or the audience with reading every single one of those notes. We do like to point out the one that we feel the most pertinent probably is the commitments, note 5, page 11. That note actually outlines your your future debt payments in more detail, and then your construction commitments that are already committed to. So those are some outstanding liabilities that the district are currently on the hook for. So that always is a good one to point out. So the debt, the principal balance remaining on your debt is 168 million, which was compared to last year was 173 million. And then you have current construction projects or commitments of 9.5 million, which related to the Rollins Elementary renovation. The remaining pages are various compliance reports and schedules that are required by various federal and state agencies. The schedule of expenditures of federal awards on page 17 and 18 show that the district expended approximately 38.8 million in federal funds in the current year. So that's a lot of federal monies that flow through the district and are administered on a day-to-day basis. The schedule of findings and question cost, starting on page 26, that's basically, so because you receive so much in federal awards and expend so much in federal awards, you're subject to another audit, basically, which is the compliance piece to this. So the financial statement piece is the numbers, and then we do the compliance piece as well. Because of that, we have to test certain things and determine major programs to be tested. There was one finding in internal controls over financial statements that rose to the level of a reportable finding. A former employee of the maintenance department was able to purchase HVAC systems or units on behalf of the district, and then was using those in his own personal HVAC business. The district, once this was discovered, the district terminated the employee, obviously, collected all the pertinent data, turned it over to the prosecutors. It's currently in the prosecutor's hands, and the district is working on getting reimbursed for those improper charges. So that's the first finding. And then that didn't have anything to do with federal programs. The federal programs that we tested were the Education Stabilization Funds, the Coronavirus Relief Funds, which are two brand new programs in the current year, brand new at the federal level and at this level. Temporary assistance for needy families, and the special education cluster. So there were 4 programs that had to be tested. There's countless other programs that are administered, but we were only required to test these 4 to get to our percentage coverage that we're required to get to. We noted one finding that rose to the level of reportable in our sample selected among all those 4 programs. The program that had the finding was the TANF program. And I'm going to preface this with saying that this was kind of a crossover finding from a finding we had last year, but due to the nature of audit, we don't get to come out until the books are closed. And so it's not uncommon for a finding to carry over into another year, because by the time we come out for audit and catch it, and then they implement the corrections, it's already 6 months, it's already 6 months into the year, because by the time they get everything closed out and we come out for audit, you've already gone through part of your year. So it's kind of a crossover from the prior year findings, which was the same thing we found last year. We had some of the employees that were working in this program had some wrong definitions and determination of eligibility. And so we had the same issue at the beginning of this year when we were testing the things from the beginning of this period. So, but the corrections, the staff have already been obviously retrained. They were retrained when we notified you guys last year. And so this was just a carryover from the prior year. So the staff have been retrained, and we hope to not find this issue, obviously, going forward. We also followed up on the other two findings that we had last year. I don't know if you'll remember those, but they're also in the report. The other two prior year findings, we did not find similar issues in the current year on. So we go back and look at our prior year findings and make sure we're not seeing the same thing happening on a recurring basis. So we're also required to test certain state statutes, and we're pleased to report that we had no findings in our sample selected for state statute testing. So that's the report in a nutshell. And we also, as one of our auditing standards, are required to notify you guys as the board that we performed the audit in accordance with the engagement letter. We didn't have any disagreements with management on any financial accounting policies, the audit standards, and the procedures that we performed. So we did not experience any disagreements during our process. Do you guys have any questions on any of it?
There's just one thing you said that I need to make sure that for the record is correct. You said we terminated the employee, he was arrested and he resigned. And
So,
yeah.
yes, probably a better, yes, yes.
He no longer exists.
That's right, that's correct.
Well, and I did want to make one comment concerning that. We have obviously put steps in place to ensure that this cannot happen again. Specifically, after a major purchase such as that is made, we are having someone else, a different person, come back and inspect and make sure that the work was completed as it was reported to be.
It's worth keeping around for another year? Okay.
Or two. Yep.
Do y'all have any other questions for Sarah or I?
Thank you, guys. We appreciate it. Thank you, Kelly.
Thank you, Sarah.
Do we need to?
We do. We do need to take action.
Make a motion to approve the audit report for the year ending June 30th.
I have a motion by Mrs. Creek, a second by Mr. Bell to approve the audit report. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you. The next item that I have for you are the March financials. The first thing I want to talk to you about is, have any of you received your tax bill for Washington County? I got mine today. I'm probably the only one that was excited to get it. And I was so excited because, as you know, we had a problem with that a couple of years ago. I've been calling and talking to them saying, when will the bills go out? And they said they should be mid-month. So I was ecstatic to get mine. Because that's a good thing. So hopefully we will not have any more of those timing issues that we experienced a couple of years ago. So the March financials, they look good. Our revenue is slightly behind, but you guys know exactly why. It's because of the problem that I just shared with you about the delay in the notices going out in the previous year. So I'm not worried about that. It's looking good. The expenditures are right in line with where they were previous to, or typically this year. So I feel good about it. I think we're gonna, especially with the notices going out already, I'm real excited about that. So we're gonna end on a good note.
You need a motion for us to.
I do, please.
Make a motion to approve the financial reports as submitted. Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Hutchinson, a second by Mr. Emerson to approve the March 2022 financial statements. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
And the final item I have for you is a related party disclosure. We have a secretary at Jones Elementary that also owns BT Photography. The employee's name is Brenda Toro. As I stated, she's a secretary, and we would like to have the opportunity to use her services in the event that it's in the best interest of the district to do so. So I would ask that the board pass a resolution to that effect.
I will make a motion to approve the resolution of an approved related party transaction with BT Photography, even though it's going against my company. No, That's good.
Have a motion by Mr. Hutchinson. A second by Mr. Owenby to approve the related party transactions with BT Photography. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Okay, now Mr. White's going to give you a construction update.
Twice in one night.
Hello, Board, Dr. Cleveland. I've got a update on Central. We got confirmation that Baldwin and Shell secured the lot west of Central. So they're gonna put their job trailer and have a construction area for all their equipment off our property, which that will allow us to keep 90 parking spots during phase 1. And then once phase 2 starts, that'll increase to 137 spots. And then at the end of the job, we'll have a total of 300 on that site. So that's a good, big improvement for the parking. We have got state approvals on the Central job. We met yesterday with the contractors on the gym remodel, and it actually bid yesterday. And then bid package 1, which is site work, stormwater, and earthwork, that goes out to bid on April 19th. And then we'll also have 2 other bid packages for later processes in that job. Bid package 2 will go out on April 28th. Bid package 3 will go out on May 15th. But the most important thing is we get the job trailer on site on May 16th. The stormwater work will start on May 23rd, and demo will start May 31st on some of the other buildings, not the school building. So that'll be phased in once students are off-site and teachers are off-site. So we will see some work soon. Do you guys have any questions on Central?
That's still a 2-year.
Mm-hmm. So Central, it's phased out a little different than Southwest. So we will demo out a section of the building, the kitchen, the mini gym, the ag room, and then the 2 west classrooms this summer. As soon as school gets out, those will get demoed out, and we'll start construction from there to the south, over where the softball field was, and that'll complete next summer. And then we'll move students out of the old section of building into the new and start some demo there, and then build that phase. And then at the end of it, we'll remodel the cafeteria now, turns into the media center, the serving area that we're gonna have, and the kitchen that will turn into media center also, and move into the new kitchen, which is about where the tennis court is now. So it's phased a little different. They'll actually get quite a bit of new building next summer. So it'll be good. We have work. Yes, yeah. So we're remodeling the gym, the main gym, this summer. So they'll be able to use it at the start of school, and then next summer we'll gain the new mini gym and the locker rooms and all of that. So that'll be a big help.
What's involved in the remodel of the gym? I mean, like, what do you do?
We're gonna add a filming platform on the bleachers. We have to remove the ceiling, the drop ceiling, remove all the insulation that's on there, and then reinstall new insulation to bring it up to code. New HVAC units to bring those up to code, and new paint, new lights, and then sound system. So just
The floor's in great shape. It's beautiful.
The floor's good.
yeah. We remodeled the floor just a few years ago and sanded it down, so it's in good shape. Okay, so at Southwest, we did get state approval for the bid package 1, which is site, stormwater, and earthwork. We've got approval on the field house. So we received, on bid package 1, we received that approval on April 4th. Field house, we received it on April 6th. And so the bid package 1 and the field house will go out to bid on April 26th. Bid package 2 goes out on June 14th, and bid package 3 goes out on June 23rd. We did get the notice to proceed. We will get it on May 4th. They're gonna mobilize for the construction to start on May 9th, and then set the job trailer on May 19th at Southwest. And we do have the portable classrooms on site. They have about another day of putting in the ramps and some underpinning, and then we will start putting power into those. So all of these jobs, once school gets out, I'll have to have my guys over there to recover any equipment we want to keep before the demo starts. And so a lot of that will get, a lot of the classroom furniture will go into the portables, around June 1st, first week of June. So we'll have about a week at each location to get everything we want out before demo starts. Do you guys have anything on Southwest? At Southwest is Baldwin and Shell. Central. So Central, we've got Architecture Plus is the architect, Baldwin Shell's contractor. Southwest, we've got WD&D as architect, Baldwin and Shell's the contractor.
Trailer at Southwest gonna be over around tennis courts or somewhere in there?
The portable classrooms.
No, the work trailer.
The job trailer is going to be on the north end of the football field. Because we have to, where the tennis court is, we have to bring all the utilities come in through there. And then we've got a temporary road and it'll turn into the permanent. And it'll go out by the youth center. And then the new field house sits just south and west of the press box. So we have to demo out a couple, the old press box and the old locker room have to get demoed out, and then we'll put in the new field house this summer. Okay, so the next one is Springdale High School. We received approvals on it on April 4th. Flintco is set to mobilize the week of June 1st, which that'll allow that week for me to get in and get all of our equipment out that we want to keep. And then the second week of June is when they'll start demo there. And it'll be a slower process because they're recovering a lot of the wood and the rock off of the Ox gym to reuse in the new gym. So it'll be a lot slower process than the others. And it went out to bid on the 11th, April 11th also. For that whole, that job's going out in one bid package. So it's just one huge bid package goes out all together. It'll be a lot simpler because we'll just do demo and then we'll build. We'll have a set construction area to work in and be able to separate the students from the construction.
Questions on that. On the flat building, there's really nothing to recover there to reuse in the new place, right?
We're gonna, yeah, not like the auxiliary gym. We're gonna recover some of the equipment and some of the hardware that.
So that leads to my second question. That flat building means a lot to a lot of those people that are teaching over there, that have been over there for 13 years.
Mm-hmm.
Are they gonna have an opportunity to, if there's something that they, a piece of tile or something that they want to take off of there that they can take home with them?
Yeah, I'm sure we just have to work with Baldwin and Shell and
Flintco will make.
Flintco.
I've had to repurpose buildings before in the district, and what they did is they set aside bricks and other things in a safe manner. That way people weren't just all on the job site where they can be, dangerous.
Yeah.
I think some of them might appreciate the ability to do that.
Yeah.
I don't want anything.
Yeah.
I don't teach over there.
Yeah.
I just know that some of those folks that have been there for 20,
Well, and former
25, 30
athletes
years.
have asked if they.
Sure. Yeah, we can get with Flintco. That job is Core Architect and Flintco is the contractor. So we can definitely get with them and get a plan together. Okay. I'll skip George Elementary. And so the middle school HVAC projects, we did set some units a couple weeks ago at Helen Tyson onto the locker rooms, and that'll feed the gym area. We're gonna move as soon as we get the units in, which should be in about a week or maybe 2 weeks. Everything's been delayed, so all the dates they give us usually rolls back. But as soon as we get those units, we'll move over to those units before school gets out. That way it'll allow summer school and ASP to have middle school that's not disturbed. And they have done a lot of just electrical, HVAC, controls, plumbing's all done at a lot of those schools. So we're just waiting to get units here and then a crane scheduled to set all the units up on the roof and get the old units off. And Milestone contractors are doing that job. So the final one at, and I haven't even told Don Tyson yet, but so we got approval on their road to start it. We got that approval. And so we have a couple more approvals to get done with the city and with the Springdale Water. And so our start date right now is May 2nd. That's when we'll be on site and actually start the work. So the city, we have to move one hydrant. It's kind of in the middle between Turnbow and SOI. So we'll be able to start construction even if we don't have that approval from the city water.
Where's that gonna run? How's it?
So it will go from, you know, where the, on Don Tyson Parkway, where the dog park is. Right across from it, there's already a street cut on Turnbow property. So we'll go in on that. It'll kind of go back to the west and then back to the north around their, they have a walking track. And then it'll run up that property line and then it'll connect into the SOI property and it'll come out where the retention pond is on the east side of SOI. There's that big retention pond. It'll come in south of that. So we're not gonna have to redo the retention pond. We'll come into the south of it and then come out into that east driveway.
That'll just help traffic flow.
Yep, so it'll be 3 lanes. It'll make a big difference for traffic.
Especially for 412,
Mhm.
having a junior high and Lakeside and school innovation together, that really, and that, so the city, it was a request, and
Yeah.
had made the request, they're right, so.
Yeah.
we started that.
It's just been a long process, but we finally did get all the approvals needed. So, you guys have any questions about any of the construction projects or? Depends on what happens tonight. There's storms coming.
Storm's coming in tonight.
So,
We sound like we're done, so.
yep. Yeah, I know it. All right, thanks.
Exciting, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm ready. This is the part I like. So.
Toby, you talked about, to me the other day, about how long this process, when it first started, with actually seeing. the
Yeah, we
opportunities.
started talking about this about 5 years ago. What's really is also exciting about it is just the upgrade for the city as well, not only for our schools and our kids, but the neighboring areas around these historic schools and
Yeah.
the facelift that we're doing is just,
Yeah.
it's really good.
Yeah, I told several of the principals, this part of the job takes longer than actually building the school, you know? So, once we get on site, get job trailers there, everybody will see progress. So, it'll be good. And we have worked with Kevin Conkin and the principals on, really at Central. We're focusing on Central right now, because it's the most landlocked on bus drop-off, parent drop-off, on, you know, just getting that, a plan in place, so. But I think it's all very doable.
It'll be a challenge, but worth it.
It'll be worth it. So, All right.
Thank you.
Good evening, school board, Dr. Cleveland. We've been here a long time, so I want to try to make it short and sweet. Thank you for your time and the opportunity to come up and talk to you about what SEA is doing. I am Madeline Lomax, the Springdale Education Association president. I am also an art and ceramics teacher at DTSOI, so the news that we're getting a new road is the best news that I've heard in a long time. That, along with the collaborative team meetings, I'm a teacher who does electives, so my opportunities to meet with a PLC have been limited over the past 4 years that I've been in Springdale School District, and I am excited to make connections with my fellow staff members, my colleagues, and just to get to hear about how students are doing in other classes and how I can support other classes. Arts integration has been a big initiative at DTSOI, the University of Arkansas, and for me personally. So being able to plan an art project in another core subject outside of my lunchtime is going to be really nice. Back to SEA, we are doing several things to help encourage connection. And so to hear that teachers can't work in isolation, they need to work in collaboration, we are right on the same line of thinking that we want to continue connecting teachers. So one way that we have done that is we sent some of our board members to the National Education Leadership Summit, and they got 15.5 hours of professional development. We learned about grant writing, diversity training, and social emotional learning. I think another key to these collaborative team meetings and something that we need to continue working on in the aftermath of 2020 and 2021 is to continue emphasizing social emotional learning, not only for the students in our district, but for the adults, for our families, for our teachers, and for all of our staff who have been affected, whose mental health has been affected by what's happened over the last 2 years. Big changes have happened that have been outside of our control. And something that I learned at the professional development, the leadership summit, was that our brains, when we feel out of control of some kind of social situation, let's say we feel out of control because we don't have the choice to change the CMT time, or we feel out of control when there's a snow day or a disaster like a tornado. Our brain actually reacts to that the same way it would react if there were a tiger in the room. But are we taking care of our brains the same way as if they were threatened that much? I don't know if we are, but as a district, I hope that we can learn to do better. I hope that SEA can also be integral in supporting teacher mental health and supporting the social emotional learning of everyone as we learn how to support each other better as a community and heal the division that we've seen in our communities. Dr. Cleveland told me that our district focus at the beginning of the year was engagement, not only for students, but for our entire staff, for our families, for the school board, for everyone who's involved in Springdale Public Schools. And if we're going to encourage engagement, we have to find connections. We have to find ways to help people feel like they are connected to the district, whether or not they have a student. If they're a member of our community, then Springdale School District is important to them because we are educating the people that they might hire in the future. Someone who may be their doctor, someone who is going to impact them whether or not they know it. And so I just want to continue looking for ways that SEA can support Springdale School District and the Springdale community. And some ways that we're doing that are connecting to SEA teachers. We gave out gift cards to 7 Brews to all of our members and just gave a little teacher appreciation note. A way that we are connecting to students is by providing $1,500 in scholarships at the end of this year. And we also would like to connect more with our classified staff. We found out that through SEA membership, staff can receive a member benefit of a free education degree. That means that our classified staff that wants to become a certified teacher can go to college to do that completely free with no debt. And so we hope that through SEA and Grand Canyon University, we can help connect the classified staff that wants to become certified staff. And let me find my spot, I'm so sorry. So I have a quote for you guys. Building a relationship is about so much more than understanding someone. It's about making someone feel understood. So it's not about, our connections are not about us personally, it's about everyone else and making sure they feel seen and they feel heard. And so we want to keep connecting those things and rebuild relationships. At the NEA Leadership Summit, the National Teacher of the Year shared the quote, "Why be a star if you can make a constellation?" And I think that that goes right along with the impact that the Springdale School District is trying to make right now, where we're not focused on the individual, but in our power as a group. I think that's all. All right, thank you.
Appreciate your time. Thank you for waiting. John, I think you're it on our list.
Am I the last?
You are the last.
Let's make it short and sweet. What I've seen this evening, I haven't been here in a while. I've changed a lot. You guys have changed. A lot of good things happening in the school district. A lot of good things are happening in the school. You guys are involved. The community is involved. Parents, staff. It's great to see. It's really great to see. One thing I will say, PLC, they're still here. Great opportunity as a leader in the military, as a parent, and as an educator. It's imperative that leaders, teachers communicate and communicate effectively so that they can expand that knowledge and create a more environment for learning. Expand on that, support it. But make sure that the topics and subject matters that you're working on, focus on the kids, but also focus on the educators. They need the support when they're put in a position where there is no support or there's not much existing there. Not so much today, because Springdale has a wealth of knowledge and a wealth in the community that we don't have that in our schools much around here. Department of Education was founded by whom? John D. Rockefeller. Very powerful individual, very influential, and it's part of the 1%. Also got into the K through 12, Department of Education, your colleges, universities, medical, and also your pharmaceuticals. Take note of that and be aware of that. It's coming out in the future. Thank you.
Thank you. Do you have any? With that, the meeting is adjourned.